PUBG Mobile World Invitational is powered by Gamers Without Borders and is brought to you by OnePlus, the official smartphone provider, Nemo TV, the official streaming platform, and STC, the official playout sponsor. And we are now into our penultimate day here of the PUBG Mobile World Invitational. It's day 3 with 1 day left to go, hence penultimate. And we're going to find out which team will be at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the day and one step closer to taking $250,000 for the charity of their choice. $3 million on the line over the course of these 4 days. It's been a 6-week-long event, and it all concludes with the best game of them all with some PUBG Mobile. I'm your host, Jason Kaplan, and I have to bring in 2 analysts to help break down everything happening today, everything in the past, and even predicting things that will happen in the future. It's going to be Frost, it's going to be Seven Worlds Gaming. How are you two gentlemen doing today?
Doing great today, man. How about you? We never really get to ask you, Jason. You know what, Frost? First of all, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little bit like, I don't know. I'm still wondering if I'm cursed or not. That's
You are.
I am? All right.
Yeah.
And we're not mentioning any names there. But yeah. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm surviving. I'm surviving off some great games of PUBG Mobile, to be honest. It's some long days, but look at their action-packed games, and it's all for good cause as well, right? We'll take a look at the prize pool, or the breakdown of the prize pool, I should say, here over the course of this event. $250,000 for charity for the #1 ranked team at the end of the entire event. There's still $80K to go at the end of every day. You can see everyone does get a little bit of money to donate to the charity of their choice, and all for such a fantastic cause. And speaking of this money, what can it actually do for you? What do these amounts equate to when it comes to the real world? And $250,000, actually $1 million, does relate into, I believe it's 270,000 people to be vaccinated with 2 doses. And you got to give a big shout out to all of the sponsors involved with this as well. They're helping make Gamers Without Borders happen. UNICEF, Gavi, Direct Relief, International Medical Corps, King Solomon, Humanitarian Aid and Relief, all making this possible. And I hope to one day have this entire world vaccinated so we can finally go back outside and start enjoying life yet again. But at least during these times, we get to enjoy some PUBG Mobile, boys.
Heck yeah, man. We've been playing so much, and especially the new mode. If you guys haven't played the new mode, Mission Ignition, go check it out because it's a lot of fun. You get to use riot shields. You get to use the new Teslas. There's just so much stuff you can do in the game now.
That's all we get to hear. The riot shields.
Dirty things, yeah. Of course, he says riot shields first, right? Because one of the dirtiest items in the game for him.
You can stop cars with them and everything, They're just so much fun.
I think Seven's looking to actually buy some in real life and then test them out. Let's take a look at the schedule, though. No, I'm not giving you ideas. I'm pretty sure it won't stop a car in real life, so don't try it. We need to have you on the shows. We do have the same battlegrounds being played in the same order every day. Erangel, Sandhawk, Erangel, Miramar. And Erangel... with 1 day left to go, hence penultimate. And we're going to find out which team will be at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the day and one step closer to taking $250,000 for the charity of their choice. $3 million on the line over the course of these 4 days. It's been a 6-week-long event, and it all concludes with the best game of them all with some PUBG Mobile. I'm your host, Jason Kaplan, and I have to bring in 2 analysts to help break down everything happening today, everything in the past, and even predicting things that will happen in the future. It's going to be Frost, it's going to be Seven Worlds Gaming. How are you two gentlemen doing today?
Doing great today, man. How about you? We never really get to ask you, Jason. You know what, Frost? First of all, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little bit like, I don't know. I'm still wondering if I'm cursed or not. That's
You are.
I am? All right.
Yeah.
And we're not mentioning any names there. But yeah. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm surviving. I'm surviving off some great games of PUBG Mobile, to be honest. It's some long days, but look at their action-packed games, and it's all for good cause as well, right? We'll take a look at the prize pool, or the breakdown of the prize pool, I should say, here over the course of this event. $250,000 for charity for the #1 ranked team at the end of the entire event. There's still $80K to go at the end of every day. You can see everyone does get a little bit of money to donate to the charity of their choice, and all for such a fantastic cause. And speaking of this money, what can it actually do for you? What do these amounts equate to when it comes to the real world? And $250,000, actually $1 million, does relate into, I believe it's 270,000 people to be vaccinated with 2 doses. And you got to give a big shout out to all of the sponsors involved with this as well. They're helping make Gamers Without Borders happen. UNICEF, Gavi, Direct Relief, International Medical Corps, King Solomon, Humanitarian Aid and Relief, all making this possible. And I hope to one day have this entire world vaccinated, so we can finally go back outside and start enjoying life yet again. But at least during these times, we get to enjoy some PUBG Mobile, boys.
Heck yeah, man. We've been playing so much, and especially the new mode. If you guys haven't played the new mode, Mission Ignition, go check it out because it's a lot of fun. You get to use riot shields, you get to use the new Teslas. There's just so much stuff you can do in the game now.
That's all we get to hear.
The
riot shields.
Dirty things, yeah. Of course he says riot shields first, right? Because like one of the dirtiest items in the game for him.
You can stop cars with them and everything, you know? They're just so much fun.
I think Seven's looking to actually buy some in real life and then test them out. Let's take a look at the schedule, though. No, I'm not giving you ideas. I'm pretty sure it won't stop a car in real life, so don't try it. We need to have you on the shows. We do have the same battlegrounds being played in the same order every day. Erangel, Sandhawk, Erangel, Miramar. At Erangel, once again, so 3 Erangels a day. 1 Sandhawk, 1 Miramar. We'll actually touch on Erangel a little bit later on today. But guys, I mean, this is going to be a really tough day for some teams. Over in the East Conference, we definitely have our one team far ahead of quite a few of the others, but we did have a big climb back today out of a couple of different teams in particular. But I'm wondering what's going to happen here in the West Conference, because we have a lot of teams out there that we expected to do well that unfortunately haven't risen up to, well, their names and their stature. Let's take a look, though, at the overall standings so you guys get an idea if you missed out on the last days of who currently is sitting in that first place position. And honestly, guys, expected? Yes, no? Canadian Power next year gaming? What's your thoughts, Seven?
Actually, for me, the top 2 were a little bit unexpected considering of how day 1 started. But it goes to show what a great bounce back Canadian Power had. And also next year gaming, I mean, they're currently tied in first place for points. But the one thing that's kind of I want to highlight a little bit more is Canadian Power, their fragging power. 51 kills, currently the most out of everybody, even though they are currently technically in second place. Alpha 7 Esports, that was another big surprise. We saw them kind of dropping off. We are going to talk about them a little bit more, but we really haven't seen the star player in Carrillo, and luckily for them, other players are starting to step up. And then I think maybe the biggest surprise for me is Chivas Esports from Mexico. They're currently sitting in 4th place with 90 points. That is just so impressive to me. I cannot wait to see how they're going to be playing. Yesterday, we saw them being a little bit more aggressive. We saw them, especially in Erangel. They didn't get those second places that we saw on day 1, but now they're at least starting to improve in their overall placement and also starting to frag out. And then we have 19 Esports right there with 87 points representing Canada. And actually, another surprise for me, Frost, is Destiny, how much they have fallen off.
Yeah, they fall off in the day 2 there. We saw them in day 1 basically dominating, getting themselves 66 points. But yesterday, day 2, they only got themselves 19 points. That is not good enough. Not if you want to be one of the best teams in the world here. Of course, going down, we do have RTG as well. One of the favorites when it comes to Sanhok. The Moroccan team has been dominating Sanhok over all of the other teams. You basically... That's their map. They can do really good there, but they need to do a little bit better on the other maps as well. Guns Esport finally on the first page. I love to see it. I want to see more from them. I know that they can do much more, and we're expecting more from them. But, I mean, it's all good because they're on the first page. They ended yesterday with a win on Erangel, and if they can continue that road, they're going to rise up here.
Great.
Oh, I mean, they're definitely going to continue on that road, hopefully. And now we have Team Queso. And sorry about this one, Jason, but I just want to talk about Team Queso. This is usually when they tend to wake up, around day 3. And hopefully they can, because we know they have a big rivalry with Alpha 7. Which one's going to be on the higher in the standing? Is it going to be Brazil or is it going to be Argentina? That's definitely what I'm going to be looking at. We have UDR Killers right there with 67 points. Rod, I mean, this has been a very surprising team for me as well. The way they've been able to bounce back, being able to get 66 points. And then, you know what? I'm going to skip all of them, and I'm going to go towards the bottom with Team Onyx. Even though they are in last place, they were able to be one of the teams that got a chicken dinner, and they were able to actually improve a lot more on day 2. And in contrast to that, a team that really hasn't improved as much is Ghost Gaming.
I mean, I want to touch a little bit more on Team Onyx. We saw them getting that win on that Miramar game with 12 kills. That is very impressive. But the best game they had before that was basically a 13th place with 3 kills. I mean, it's a big contrast there, but you can see what one game can do. It can lift you up very high up towards the scoreboard there, or at least point-wise. But I want to see more from them. If we could see them do that on a game like that we saw yesterday on Miramar, they can do even better on the other maps, and I want to see that happen today because they haven't shown us that yet.
Guys, you want to hear something funny? So the point difference between first and 16th place is like 65 points. Point difference in East between first and second place is like 60 points. That's pretty damn ridiculous if you think about it. The gap between like first and fifth place, I believe, is 100 points, if not a little bit more than that. Like, that's how crazy different both regions have been so far, and kind of how close the entirety of the West region has been so far. Or maybe it's more of we haven't had that one team stand out as heavily as we've seen over in the East. But that means anyone's game, anyone's day here. Even if you're Ghost, if you're Team Onyx, you come out big today, you could see yourself towards the top of the leaderboard. But it comes down to if you can potentially pull that off and if you can take down some of the big dogs. But we need to talk about some of these big dogs. And the first one we're going to be mentioning is a team currently in second place. Kanina Power is going to take a look at their stats from day one up against their stats from day two and start to maybe analyze it a little bit, because the horses have started to gallop and how to run here in this race.
Kanina Power is one of the best teams when it comes to two maps, and it's Erangel and Miramar. They've been dominating both of those maps so far, and that's why we see them towards the top here. One thing in particular to talk about when it comes to Kanina Power is that they made a player switch from day one to day two. So day one we had Gonzo playing, while day two they had switch out Gonzo for DJR. Now both of these guys have played 5 games each. They only have 1 kill each though. That is not going to be it. That's not going to be enough. But on the other hand, you have Thatcher, you have Nomi, you have Acer, all 3 of them in the top 10 kill leaderboard. Thatcher on the 2nd place with 18 kills, Nomi on 7th place with 16 kills, Acer on 8th place with 15 kills. That is super impressive. And right now, those 3 are lifting the team up so high up that we can see them on a 2nd place. And you wouldn't think that when you have 2 guys not really performing to the level that you want them to. But overall, impressed over what Kanina Power has brought to the table so far, but we're only halfway through the tournament, so you got to keep it up because there's still 10 more games to go.
You can see here the player stats as well, as you're talking about individual players and who's been able to step up and do well. This was from, I believe, yesterday. You can see Fachi there with the 1,700 damage being done. And you guys already talked about Gonzo. I believe he wasn't playing yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Seven?
That is correct. Gonzo did not get a chance to play yesterday. And actually, when we compare Gonzo and DGR, DGR has actually had a lot more average survival time. So I'm really wondering which one of those 2 players is going to be on the roster today, especially at the start. And it leads me to believe, and I kind of wanted to ask you this, Frost. What do you think? How do you think this team's going to perform if one of those players of the like or Gonzo or DGR start performing as well? Do you think maybe we'll have a runaway team? I'm starting to believe so if they start performing too.
I think if they start actually performing, we're going to see the other players mellowing it out a little bit. So I think we're still going to keep seeing them towards the top there, and they're still going to be performing to the level they're doing right now. I don't think it's going to be a lot different, even if we see them start performing.
Well, speaking of performing, you mentioned RTG, you mentioned Sandhawk and how they've won it every single time, but Sandhawk has only played once a day, 4 times in total over the course of these 20 matches. But Erangel, that one's going to be played 3 times a day, so 3 times 4, that's 12 for all of you math freaks out there. 12 times in total. We're going to take a look at which teams have been performing the best when it comes to this, and we're going to have one of the teams we were just talking about here, Kanina Power.
I mean, yeah, but you would expect it to be up there, especially with the points that they're currently putting out. Now, let's talk about Alpha 7. This is a team that kind of the likes of Kanina Power, they're having some players that are just not performing as well. And I'm gonna have to call you out, Carrillo. You're usually the one that we expect to be just playing amazingly. And right now, this tournament, he has kind of died down. But luckily for Alpha 7, their support player, Senna Texa, has been performing at his role. And then you have Mafios, which yesterday, alone by himself, he was able to put up 10 kills. And luckily for Alpha 7 as well, on day one, they have Rebu put up 12 kills. So with those two, with Alpha 7 especially, I want to see today what is Carrillo going to be able to do, because we know he can put up the kills. We know he has the skill. We just don't know why we haven't seen that yet. And now going to 19 Esports, I'm enjoying their consistency. Even though it's not super flashy, even though it's not super crazy, their average plays from day 1 to day 2 are 8th place. And their kills on day 2, they fall off a little bit. They went from 21 kills in day 1 to 18 kills in day 2. Overall, though, their average survival time is staying about 23, which allows them to get into later fights. We saw them every single time, especially when we play in Erangel. They're usually towards us top 5 teams, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to be doing, especially of the likes of, by the way, shout out to Shifan, because he's currently putting up a great performance for that team, even though he's just a brand new addition. And yesterday, we got to see a glimpse at a brand new duo between Xenox and Shifan, and I actually love that duo, considering that Xenox is still one of the young ones. Shifan might have a lot more experience in this kind of scenes, and he's going to be able to learn a lot from him.
I just want to add one thing to that, because we saw those three top teams on Erangel, and Kunina Power, they have 74 points throughout the 6 games there. 19 Esports, 70 points. A7 has 64 points. And we have another team that is very close by that we'll be talking a lot about when it comes to Erangel, and that is Chivas Esports from Mexico. They currently sitting on 62 points on those Erangel games. So they're having a really high average and just outside the top 3 there as well. And I think we're going to see more from them today on Erangel as well.
Yeah, I think one thing you got to keep in mind, though, is how they got those points, because definitely some of the teams got them in different ways than the others, as we saw with the average survival times. But 2 teams that we've been talking about a little bit at the beginning, one of them, I think what they did to learn going into day 2 was to have Frost not predict you. We're going to take a look at Guns and Ra'ad in a little bit of a head-to-head here of their stats overall, because Ra'ad have been able to improve quite a bit from day 1 to day 2, but so have Guns. But the caliber of teams, from what we've seen in the past from bigger events, or not bigger events, from other events, I should say, like the AMA Regional Championship, Guns probably had, as we were talking about before, probably the bigger letdown at the end of the first day.
It definitely did. I mean, this is a team that some of us were actually picking them to be within those top 3. And after day 1, we just didn't see anything from them. Something I do want to mention with Guns, though, is the consistency in a certain player, and that is going to be Freak. My man put up 8 kills in day 1, and then he went up to day 2 and put up 12 kills. And not only that, he put up almost as much damage as his other 3 teammates combined. So for them to have a star player like that, Guns kind of does something that a team, Pittsburgh Knights, did in NA, which is kind of rallies behind that player and keeps putting them in certain places where they can just continue to excel, especially if the momentum is going their way. Now, going back to Rod, this was a team that after day 1, if I'm not mistaken, I think they were in 15th place, and we were saying, what's happening with this team? Are they going to finally wake up? And guess what? They were able to do just that. And with this team, they went from getting 17 points on day 1, 49 points in day 2. And something I want to point out in regards to a certain player, if you look at his stats, Sadat, even though he got 0 kills yesterday, he was able to put up 10 assists. So I'm not sure if support might be his role at the moment in that team, but I mean, if it is, he is doing great at support, and they're currently outlasting when it comes to average survival time, Guns as well. So Rod, I think if they can perform as yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them towards the top 8 today.
Look, talking about Guns, though, you mentioned it. Freak got 20 kills out of the 35 that they have so far. Hamude, which is, in my opinion, the star player, only has 9 kills. And then you have Lord, who only got 2 kills so far in the 10 games he's played. And what's surprising is because he was the 3rd overall killer in the PMPL Arabia. So I'm expecting a lot more from Lord. I know that he can fry out a lot more, but right now we haven't seen that from him. And I think that Guns, they have way longer to go here right now. They got so much more to show us, and I hope that is going to be today that we'll see it.
Ross, something to point out too, and since you mentioned Hamodi, he has stepped it up from day 1 to day 2. In day 1, he only got 2 kills. In day 2, he was able to get 7 kills. So I'm hoping that trend kind of continues with him.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, obviously, because we still have 5 matches to play today. Before we can even get to them, we need to have a little bit of a sit-down with Guns before the event kicked off. We had a little bit of an interview, so we're going to head to this. And when we come back, don't worry, a few minutes after that, we'll be kicking off our first match here of day 3.
Quite a while ago, we worked on our communication very well. But after the last tournament we played EMEA, we took a long break until yesterday. But we played the scrims, and it was actually more than we expected, and it was very satisfying. What makes our team strong is our experience, each player's experience. We've been playing the game for a really long time, and we have quite good experience, and our communication is very good, so that's what makes us different from the other teams. Our strongest opponent, in my opinion, is probably Ghost Gaming from North America and Alpha 7 from Brazil. They're, especially Alpha 7, they're quite aggressive team, and I like their gameplay. To be honest, my personal goal and the team's goal is quite the same. We want to be in the top 3 for this tournament and prove ourselves in the global scene. Our chances for this tournament, I would say it's quite high to get at least top 3, even more if the luck helps us, so we'll see.
Well, good to hear from Free because we've been talking about him so much here on the desk, and we are about to start off here our first match of the day. And you know, Frost, before we started the day, he was begging me, Jason, please let me do predictions because I got my mojo out. I'm ready to curse some more teams. So why don't we just get straight into that? And Frost, go ahead. What's the team you want to curse first? I'd say
you know what? I want to let 7 start this time.
No. Don't try to pass this on me, baby. You go first.
You start.
I want to know who you're going to pick so I don't pick them. You go first, Frost.
That was my whole plan. You know what? This is for you, 7. I'm going to go with A7 Esports.
I was actually going to pick them too. Now I have to switch it. And I said I can't pick Ghost anymore because I've been cursing them. So you know what? Let's go. Let's play it interesting here. I'm going to go with Rod. Let's see what Rod's got to offer.
I like that.
Okay. Well, you know what? You always ask me for my predictions, and since 7's not going to pick Ghost, I will pick Ghost because the boys from North America, like we saw Navi today over in the East Conference, and obviously if this is spoilers, cover your ears, or take your headphones off, I guess I should say, or whatever you want to do. Showed up massively today. They had a phenomenal day, and I think Ghost could have the potential to do so. I think Baywolf's downloaded every other team out there and knows exactly what to do to help lead his team to victory. But I am hearing the game is about ready to go, so I'm going to get rid of you two. And hopefully for us, if A7 goes out 16th place, you know exactly what's going to happen when we come back on air. So let's get you out of here for us. Yeah, you might not be back at all. You might be done for the show, and 7 might be doing all the analysis. But we have 2 casters who can maybe fill in for analysis if we need. We got Environment Mustache Dave back on the party, back in the virtual studio to kick us off here with our first match.
Well, thank you so much. Jason here on day number 3. Day number 1 and 2, Dave, I would say 2 pretty different days of overall gameplay. Day number 1 was pretty chill. The circles were nice. Day number 2 was chaotic, crazy hard shifts. What do you think day number 3 has in store for us?
Hopefully the same as day number 2. As a caster, as a viewer, spectator, somebody in the chat really looking for that mayhem. Of course, you asked the players. We had 2 military circles yesterday. They don't want that. They don't want that because it's like worst case scenario when it comes to our aerial matches, especially when we have 3 every single day. Really throws a wrench into the spokes, the tires of that bicycle. So I'm looking forward to today. Now, we don't really ever get our pregame predictions. We saw Ghost, we saw Alpha 7, and what was the other one? Rod. So we got 3 picks from the desk. Let me ask you, your pick, game 1. Who are we putting that pick on, that Paul pick?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I mean, I know it's kind of not a great one because they're already up at the top, but I've been really impressed by how Kunina Power has been able to turn their gameplay around. They're a team that I've really enjoyed watching. They're very dynamic as a squad, so I'm definitely looking forward to them. But I'm looking at Alpha 7 as well. I think if they can start off really well today, that could be big. And then obviously we have to look at Ghost. I was a little bit disappointed with Ghost yesterday. I hyped them up, Dave. They didn't really deliver. So we're going to see as we get into this first game. Who's your prediction as we hit the plane?
I'm going with Godsent. Today's that day. They're down there at the bottom speaking to Nuggets behind the scenes. They told me they want to finish top 5 here in this event. So today is that last day, in my opinion, that these bottom teams can really make that comeback to have that fighting chance tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, though, day number 3, match number 1, PUBG Mobile World Invitational West. Let's get started.
Let's get this party started. I am very excited to see what the teams can do today. They've now had 2 days to study rotations. They've had 2 days to study these circles, how teams react. They've got a big enough of a sample size, at least here in Erangel, Dave, where I feel like they can start to make some of these better decisions. I think Miramar, I think Sandhawk, I think those are still a bit of a crapshoot, but I'm really looking towards these Erangel games because, as you said, this makes up a huge portion of our map pool.
Yeah, Sandhawk, Miramar, since we only have 4 in total, 2 more to go, it's one of those maps, or 2 of those maps, that it's just like, okay, let's just try not to die. Let's get some placement points and maybe some kills. But really, that Erangel, like you said, 60% of that map pool is where a lot of these teams are going to look to really tighten up their gameplay to make sure that they can play as consistent as possible and get as many points as possible. So, players dispersed out the plane. We got Team Queso, we got Onyx down there. They're tried and true. A main story since day 1. I'm going to keep bringing it up, Paul. I have to. Ghost and Guns. Pochinki. Every single Erangel match. It's been hot and cold when it comes to those 2 squads. And I already see the indicators. Yep, they're blinking. And it looks like there might be some action down there.
Already starting things off hot. Game number 1, day number 3. I see a 63 at the top of our screen, Dave, which means one player has already hit the dirt. It is Lord, the player they were calling out of the Endless Desk. We hope Lord can step up today. Well, it ain't this game, that's for sure. That was just a hard hot drop.
Yeah.
That was just a hard hot drop. Oh, no.
Stepping into the Uzi. I don't know if that's the stepping they were talking about. And HH24 now, swapping over to that AKM, taking some shots on the Moody. Down pretty low in the health department. And immediately, Guns already at a disadvantage just because they have lost one in the process. So if I'm them, they're slowly on the climb, right? Yesterday, slow climb up that leaderboard. They've been getting points every single game. If I'm them right now, I don't think I'm going to commit to this fight. I think I'm going to get that loot and try to evacuate safely, maybe reposition, or maybe just kind of gather together and have the potential to guard each other's backs because they can't afford to get taken out this early on.
And to contrast that, Ghost can't afford not to get these kills. Ghost Gaming, the hope of really, I think of North America here, the American fans in particular, 14th place. Half the score, essentially, of that number 1 team. Not at all where they want to be, not on that front page. So we're going to see if they're going to push this even further. They're doing the rooftop jumps. Don't worry, Bayo, no one saw that. And they're going to try to pick up these early kills, because if they can clear out not only this area to set up their rotational path a little easier, but to get these 4 points, if they can start to consistently do that to bully out their opponents, that could set them up for a lot of success over the next few days.
They need it.
They think somebody's in that shack. There's not, but they don't know that.
Clear it out. Clear it out. And when we look at Guns, they already sent one of their squad mates out over there to those Gatka chopsticks. So I have to assume the other 2 squad mates looking to make that same play without getting taken out in rotation. But I agree with you 1000%. Like, if I'm Ghost Gaming right now, USA, we average around 5.7 points per game. They need to get these points. They have to kind of get a little aggressive here early game to really start to climb up that leaderboard. I agree with you, Paul.
And this is something that we've seen other North American teams do, particularly in things like the PMPL North America. I think back to XSET, a team who would constantly take these early game fights when there's less pressure on them from a third party, less pressure from the circle, and they'd accumulate a lot of early game points to help, boost them going into the late game for placement. And yeah, sometimes they'd lose one player, but it was often worth it because they were consistently getting squad wipes. I think if Ghost Gaming can start to get into that mindset here that they need to be more aggressive early, if you basically just start the game with 4 points. Yeah. You're just starting the game off with an objective advantage, assuming you can take the fight every time. And I think given how a lot of these early game scraps here have gone, Ghost has 100% been the victor, so there's no reason to think they can't continue to take it, at least until Guns snaps back.
Even if we're looking at Ghost and, for example, say they do play that aggressor role and they lose one in the process, but they get those 4 points, that's exactly. If they could do that every single aerial match, I'll be mighty happy. As long as that one player isn't Tensa, right? Because yesterday, Tensa definitely coming in clutch for Ghost Gaming when they were forced in those tight situations. And they came out on top a couple of times. So, yeah, if I was to make sure not to lose a player, hey, Tensa, yeah, I'm going to watch your back. But looking around here, bigger picture as that fight seems to have sizzled out. For me personally, today's the last day, and I kind of hit on it already. Today's that last day that I'm going to be looking at those teams at the bottom. We talked about Ghost a little bit. We got Onyx. By the way, I went to the esports center in-game. I voted for Onyx today. I cheered. I used my points for Onyx today. Hopefully I can double those points. They got a chicken yesterday, but they're still dead last. So Onyx, Godsent, Clash, Ghost Gaming, those 4 teams, dead bottom. Today's the last day I'm going to be looking at them, Paul. They have to do something.
They do. And to be fair, though, to Team Onyx, they went from 4 points to 41 points. They 10x'd their day 1 performance. Probably one of the single best overall performances increases we've seen. We're starting to see some action break out here on the kill feed, and it's your pickup there. Godsent getting another kill. This time it's on to Nexria Gaming, caught out on the road. Bit of an awkward rotation there. But to be fair, Dave, this is one of the few Western circles we've really seen. We've seen a lot of far north, a lot of south. As of yesterday, a lot more out towards the east. But we haven't had a lot of these Western circles so far. And I think this is really testing teams on a different rotational path and clearly getting a little bit caught out there.
And
X.
you know who this zone favors big time? Onyx. Primordial.
Oh yeah.
Worry, that's your spot. If they play their cards right, they could get some good points and maybe even keep all 4 alive, have that fighting chance to get that winner chicken dinner. But I agree with you. This zone, west side, you know? I mean, we are in the West League, so it's about time we get that West circle shift. We got Destiny up top. They're going to be making their way in. We have a couple teams out there to the east, still not in the zone. Konina Power, Ra'ad, Loca Nostra, Shivas, and of course, can't count them out, Alpha 7. So we might have some clashes over there on that east side. But for now, looks like the majority of the squads starting to center up, starting to claim some compounds, some terrain for themselves, and we'll see how this one plays out.
And we're going back to this scuffle once again. It's Guns and Ghost. And this reminds me, again, it's not just the 4 kill points you're getting if you're Ghost, you take this fight early. You are denying this team that's suddenly going to be right on top of you. They could have potentially dealt with this squad earlier. And now they're going to have to take this fight when Guns is a lot more kitted. They've got position, potential to take out a player unsuspectingly, though Ghost is aware of their location. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that from Ghost over these next 2 days. But I agree, Dave, they've got to step up here. And as I look towards sort of these overall scores from the last 2 days, the thing that's really jumping out at me is I feel like we're like in a Katy Perry track. We're hot and cold. Teams that did really well on day number 1 struggled on day number 2, and all the other teams did the opposite. It doesn't feel like anybody has been able to put up super consistent performances over both days. So hopefully we can start to see that consistency lock in for these last 2.
We'll see. And not only that, like, first through, I would even say 12th, it's pretty open. There's a point. Yeah, 40 points. It sounds like a lot, but at the same time, considering we still got 10 more games to go, that's not a lot. So it's totally open, and kind of to add on to your point, teams have been hot and cold. So if today's another one of those days, those 40 points, well, that gap is going to be extremely tight coming into that last day. So prime example, Destiny, they are at the top. They had a little point lead, coming into yesterday, but they're playing chutes and ladders. They just slid down yesterday, currently in 6th place. So we'll see what Destiny can accomplish here today. One thing, though, they're going to have to accomplish not getting backstabbed from Alpha 7 on their rotate up there towards the north.
Yeah, as they're heading towards Everest, that one could be a little bit dangerous. More dangerous for Nano, though, who rolled into the wrong neighborhood as Konina Power was already entrenched here. Pocus with that hard Yui just getting right on out of there. And, well, the scouting was there's people there, Dave. They know that now.
That they do. They definitely know that. And that quick U-turn just in time. You don't want to lose all your squad mates. That would be horrible, as they are going to be all in their vehicles. The thing is, okay, they made it out alive, but they are driving right towards Clash. They're driving right towards Team Queso. And I already see Konina Power pop in those vehicles. They're on the pursuit. So UDR, they're going to get sandwiched here very shortly.
Yeah, UDR had a pretty solid day yesterday. They were looking pretty good. Their long-range fire in particular, I noticed, did really well for them. They were able to do well at those mid to long-range scraps. But like we saw there, when they rolled up, not having quite as much, Konina Power able to get the jump on them. But speaking of getting the jump, Yekta, again, the player I felt like we didn't get to talk about enough, but a player whose numbers were absolutely staggering for Nextria Gaming. This player, Dave, he's caught out here. Do they know? Oh, now they do.
Now they do.
Now they do. And he
Rob
ruined his chance of surprise, but he's still able to turn it? Are you kidding me? He was going for the thirst, but great little team play there from Will, the players from the UK. Oh, my goodness, the old buddy system. There's no way he should have won that fight. He completely whiffed the opening salvo and was still able to turn that around. That's the play I'm talking about, Dave.
At that point, Daddy already passed you. Didn't even look in the closet.
I would have hit.
Yeah, exactly. And you might have heard those other footsteps on the outskirts. Like, they didn't know you were there. Like, just let it be. Just count your lucky stars. And I guess, the temptation for the 1 kill point, just too strong right there, and we saw what happens. But back to that UDR kind of combo we were having a couple of moments ago. I reached out to Pocus last night, after the games. We saw the sick pull up with the UMP,
Oh, yeah.
1v3.
Oh, yeah.
And to kind of tie it into what we saw moments ago from Nano, they told me that they want to play more aggressive here today. So I can see it. Like, I can see it with that last play, but I don't know. I don't know. Yesterday, their main play style was finding a prime power position early game, holding it throughout the mid game, and then showing up late game with 3 or 4 alive. I feel like just stay with that strategy. It worked out pretty well yesterday. Personally, I don't see a reason to kind of flip that script here today when we are talking UDR specifically.
Yeah, and like I said, they've done well at these mid to long range fights, but maybe being able to add that in, I can't really hate on it, Dave, because it's a team that hasn't had chicken dinner. While you're absolutely correct, they definitely looked a lot better yesterday than day number 1. They've still yet to claim that chicken, so I can't really fault them for wanting to just put the pedal to the metal. It's the play to win, play to not lose strategy. Again, we'll see if it pays off for them, but I can't hate on the gusto as we're seeing teams moving with just that as the circle has hard shifted down to the southwest. Onyx, who've been set up all game long, are about to have some company. Dave, this bag of Skittles is getting shaken up.
Shake it, man. And if I'm Onyx, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to go into Quarry, but use those hills, especially the ones on the edge out there to that west. They're going to have a nice vantage over those marshes up there to the north that it looks like Alpha 7. They're going to be deciding to drive through. Onyx, because their drop spot is over here, they just had first dibs pretty much on all of these zones. So I'm really hoping that they can take advantage of it.
Taking advantage of a free kill is Ghost Gaming, catching out multiple members of Guns on the road. And just like that, they finished what they started. They said, don't worry, Environ, we hear you. We don't need to kill them early game because we're just going to kill them in the mid game. All right, Ghost, I hear you. I hear you. And they did it so cleanly. Did Tensa did he just do that from the car?
Pull up. Yeah, 3 members of Ghost. That's a risky play because all it takes is a couple bullets and that thing is gone. But they were able to get the confirm, get some points, 4 points to be exact on the board. They have a nice little decent position, all alive. They're holding down these angles. We were talking about them, Ghost, like today's the day to do something. And as of right now, they're doing it, Paul.
I'm getting flashbacks to game 1 of yesterday where they also looked incredibly strong. And it's that, don't do that to me. Don't give me hope kind of moment where I'm looking at this Ghost Gaming roster thinking maybe today they stepped up because I called for them yesterday. I made big predictions about how much better they were going to look. And then after that very first game, they really didn't. But, oh, Bayo, next shot. We don't see Bayo with the sniper as often. I actually don't say that I hate it, though.
Pulling it out. And yesterday was, I believe, their best game, like you said. And then they kind of hit that brick wall when we looked at their Sandhawk match. And then, of course, we saw Tensa get bolted out of the moving vehicle yesterday as well. Don't want to be on that end of the highlight reel, but today's the day. Today is the day. 4 kills. I believe they're going to be leading the pack when it comes to kills this game. And popping it back over there to UDR. More drive-bys happening from Konina Power.
Also interesting to note as well that Nextria Gaming has been eliminated. Yet I look and it's like 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point for all these different teams. While Ghost did a full squad wipe. Like Nextria just got beat on by everybody. Like that's so strange that you don't see that happening very often. Whatever happened to their rotations this game, they need to shake that off because it did not work for them. As we're seeing Konina Power now getting forced out by UDR Killers. Smoke wall in the blue, but this is looking very bad for them, Dave.
Big bad, because they were tied with Nextria for that first place, 106 points. And now it looks like both first and second place is going to be wide open for the take-in when we're looking at Alpha 7, when we're looking at Shivas in game number 1. I do believe Konina Power still have a duo, but with this circle shift, still 13 other squads alive, a duo, well, you're going to need to hit them shots.
This is one of those teams you were talking about, Dave, looking to do just that. It is Chivas. They did take down Will. Loca Nostra. Konina Power is losing more players. Not looking great for them. So keep an eye on this play as Alpha 7's potentially going to roll up as well. Chivas is the only hard cover right now, but these nades could still spell disaster. That's one of the downsides of those Wizard Tower, Daves. Once those nades go in, it's very hard to dodge them.
that couple of smokes can block those windows, those sight lines, and allow any team to roll up and get really close within grenade range, kind of like what we're seeing right now from Savage. Savage is able to toss these grenades for free, basically, because this hill is just blocking those sight lines from Shiva. So that cover, although you might feel safe, well, your sight lines on that hill are bare to none.
You can see Daddy going for that crawl on the flank, looking to find another angle while the rest of his team draws their attention. But it is a 3v4. And Fran is doing a fantastic job of covering this additional angle. However, gets caught out. Daddy was able to pop up. He got distracted by another team. This is the opening, the opportunity that Laca Nostra needs in order to break this down, because this would be a really nice power position for them to have, Dave. Looking at this next circle right on the edge, especially if they need to fight up against Alpha 7.
No, Jacob! No, not like this.
Not like this.
I wouldn't be surprised if Alpha, they hear the mayhem and they just straight up send it to third part of this fight. This is like the best opportunity for Alpha to claim some points.
I mean, this is it. This is your chance right here. Laca Nostra's taking a ton of damage. Fran, the last one standing with a scrap of HP. Why is it always Fran? And here comes Alpha 7, the roll-up. Dave, you called it. Let's get some points, they say. There's like 7 right there on the table, ripe for the taking if Alpha 7 can go and get involved. Daddy's just trying to survive on the first floor. Chivas is going to be able to get the revive, and I spoke too soon because those nades came on in, but it was Alpha 7 who reaped the rewards.
Yeah, exactly. Laca Nostra, they might have got a couple points, but they pretty much swapped positions with Shivas on that wipe, and now they're the ones pinned down. Alpha 7 pretty much wrapping around this tower. Yeah, you're not going to make it on out alive. Alpha 7 taking full-on advantage of the situation right there. That's perfect.
I mean, I know this team is from Brazil, but they just went full American. They were fishing with dynamite. They were just throwing nade after nade through that window, and they got 2 squad wipes with it. Absolutely sick, because we're jumping on board with Destiny versus Clash, Germany versus France. I don't watch a lot of, football, but I feel like goal seeing these nades coming on in.
Well, let's see. It's not over yet. Here comes the blue zone to apply some pressure. 2v1. Clash inside the shack. They were able to defend their building for now. They lost 2 in the process, and they're currently getting kind of peppered on from across the way. They're going to have a long journey to make it into the zone. I believe that's either Godsent or 19E trying to pop some tires. Yeah, Godsent up there. They're just watching this, and Godsent, they're probably going to wait this one out just a little bit to see if they can confirm these points out here on the edge of the zone.
I gotta give props. Godsent's another one of these teams that just finds these power positions and just plays them back and just gets involved at range from all these other fights. They do such a good job of doing that, of just getting pickup kills here and there without risking themselves too much. Like we're seeing a bit of a risky play right now. The roll up onto Team Onyx, and Master not getting caught out this time. It's Team Queso with their pants down. Beautiful play there coming in from Onyx. Exactly what they need to do, but Rima was able to come in on the backside, and now Onyx is taking a little bit more damage than I think they wanted. Dave, here comes the nade.
Yeah, let's see. Could be big. It will inflict a couple points of damage, but honestly, in this situation, 3v1, Rima gonna be popping in. Another attempt at a drop shot. Master not able to come out clutch, but their squad mates 9 able to hit those final shots. And I was going to say, we saw this a lot of times yesterday from Team Queso, just the YOLO crashes and see if it works. And honestly, it has not been working. They lost 2. They lost 2 just crashing into that warehouse. Master prone with the UMP. They didn't even see that one coming. So maybe Team Queso pump the brakes a little bit, scout it out a little more, if I had to give them a little bit of advice.
Yeah, I think at this point, they're just getting so late in the game, and they haven't done enough of a job of scouting throughout the interim of the mid to late. It's just been chaotic. They've been taking fights, but I got to give props to this last player from Godsent. You talked to Nuggets, wanting to make it to the top 5.
Top 5 at the end of the 20 games, not top 5.
Sure. Yes.
There's still time.
Yes.
There's still time.
I was going to compliment his gatekeeping, and then he just turns and runs, and just that shot down, like, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me, says Clash, because they did such a good job of keeping them out there in the blue, denying those points, but not quite able to see it through. Ghost Gaming, though, looking like a brand new team here on day number 3, Dave. They've got all 4 players alive. They've got a bunch of kills to their name. They are looking dangerous.
Oh, okay. Then a Texa up there, popping on to 9. Master. Listen, a couple points of health. Trying to get these sprays with the Scar. Oh, for the reload. Onyx, they are just extremely separated right here.
Getting third-partied for good measure. As Alpha 7 is looking to continue to get involved. Playzone going to work as well. That's Clash going to be going down, making to the top 8. Skonita Power still surviving with this duo. Had some bad luck earlier on, but able to make the best of it as Alpha 7's up here on the high ground. Another one of these teams who had high expectations for, continue to keep all 4 players alive. Master will get confirmed, which leaves Onyx with 2. UDR on the outside. Ghost comes in as well. 19 in the mix. Dave, a lot of these teams we have high expectations for, all left up alive, all with basically full squads. This is getting hype.
Yeah, you see where Alpha is? This is where I would have liked to have saw Onyx take position, considering they had first dibs, and I was kind of saying they should go up there. Maybe they saw Team Queso and they decided to crash it. I mean, Master was camping that compound after all, but we can see camping inside a quarry, you just open yourself up to just getting stuck down there and bogged down because now we got Ghost. Now we got Alpha 7 just looking down there straight. It's like a tunnel. It's just 3 points coming out that end of the tunnel.
Like I said, Dave, fishing with dynamite. I know exactly what they need to be doing, exactly what they need to be aiming at. As Alpha 7's all starting to take the fight with Ghost Gaming. Great covering fire there from Fashe. Able to get his teammate out, do decent amount of damage. That was a great little piece of team play that could still get backstabbed by Onyx, but Alpha 7 maybe taking too many fights here. As there is the backstab from Onyx. It did end up coming in. Nice little play there, as I believe Skonita Power is down and out. Great little play from Onyx to continue to get involved. As Alpha 7, Dave, they are fighting everyone.
6 kills, 4 alive so far, looking to reposition. On the opposite end of the terrain though, Ghost Gaming also 4 alive with 7 kills. So Alpha looking to take this bull, this dip, but RTG, they're so consistent with showing up to late game, healthy, feeling good with 4 or 3 members alive. Let's see what they can do there on the edge.
They always slip under the radar, Dave.
They're always there.
They're able to do this. But Ghost Gaming continues with the drive-by. Xenox, though, so much work, but it's not quite enough. As Ghost Gaming are able to take away this position, Tensa does drop. Skonita Power finally does go down. It's all down to G-Fan and Acer. G-Fan and the duo always survives. Great shots coming in from Acer. That was Ghost Gaming with 3 players down. It all comes down to Bayo. A couple of big nades, though, and 19E are pushing this, Dave. They know what they need to do.
Wow, just open field. Looks like they do have that smoke deployed to block those sight lines. They're right on top of Ghost. Bayo pulling back from that boulder, calling off that revive. Now behind the tree, looking to get the retaliation in this 1v1 against Acer.
But RTG is looking to get involved on the outside. Nade is primed, throwing it. Not quite predicting where Acer is, though. But this is just giving Acer a little bit more intel. He's got these smokes to work with, but Dave, they're not going to last forever.
Onyx still alive. There we go. The Acer clutch. We've seen Acer in the past.
Oh, yeah.
They know how to hit them grenades, and almost as quickly as that fight's done, RTG now forced to defend their compound, their shacks from Alpha 7.
But Alpha 7 does have this next circle. RTG are going to have to push out, and I love how David always comes down to this Ghost, this NA rivalry here. It's Ghost Gaming, though, with those 15 points. Absolutely stellar play from them. As we're going to see also Onyx still up and in this. Props to Onyx up there on the high ground. Going to continue to lay down some... never mind. Never.
Fourth place.
Good.
All right. 8 points. So, good for them.
Oh, just like this, though, Dave. RTG on that road to glory, just taking over this map. Marshall is not slowing down. That's 2 players from Alpha 7 dropped. It all comes down to Rebo, who we've seen go absolutely clutch in the past. It was a 1v3. Can he make it a 1v4? As Acer's still out there on the outside, potentially looking to play spoiler, but they've got a sense of where this player is. Here come the nades, and that is going to be it. Oh, no, Davey survives.
Not anymore. I love that. We saw Senkei was able to use that cover to TPP, get the intel, and their squad mates were able to use that ridge to rotate around and catch them off guard. So now they're going to show up. They got 4 alive. Oh, now 3 alive. Acer, okay. 1v3. Can't Acer pull that clutch?
I mean, this one's going to be tough. He's got absolutely no cover to work with, and all 3 players are pushing in. That's just going to be it. That's just going to be GG. And just like that, RTG pick up a chicken dinner, beautiful play day. You called it. They show up to the late game. They're happy, healthy, moisturized, in their lane, looking for kills. They're having a great time out here, and it feels like nobody challenges them. They just get this position, they stroll in with only 2 kill points, and then they take over the game. They find order in chaos.
That position, like that little compound, that little building on top of the hill, though, was huge. And Senke played that one to perfection because they could just lean back behind the wall and just peek over. They were able to gather the information on Alpha 7, who were down there in the dip. And they just relayed that intel to their squad mates for free, who we just saw time after time tossing some grenades. There's no reason to crest that hill in that situation if they have grenades. And that's exactly what RTG did that game. It was nice, man. But like you said, they're always so consistent. We're just like popping up. They're like, hey, we're up, guys. You forgot about us. Hey, how's it going? And hey, another chicken dinner in the books of RTG.
Absolutely solid play from them. And as we take a look back at our highlights that you're seeing on our screen, a lot of solid play all around. These teams came to play game number 1, Dave. I can already tell they're warmed up. I can already tell they're fired up. Some of the sloppiness that we saw in the past couple days seems to have been brushed off. This looks like it could be game number 5 of this day. And if it's indicative of what these matches are going to be like, Dave, we're in for a treat.
For real. I mean, Alpha 7, aggressive all game long. Ghost gaming as well. Ton of kills. Exactly what they needed. And hey, RTG, like we said, another chicken dinner underneath their belt. Onyx, that was my team I cheered for. I put my points in the esports mode within the PUBG Mobile client. So I'm hoping to double that one. But this was a pretty epic fight. So it looks like Ghost, they're trying to send a reposition. And a snake behind the boulder from 19E just caught him off guard and really played that spoiler role.
Indeed. And props to RTG, though, able to sneak away. And these shots
what I was talking about.
were just so clean. Exactly.
Look at Senke. Senke is relaying all that intel to his squad mates for free without taking any damage. And their teammates were able to use that little hill ridge to push around the corner and just continue bombarding them with grenades. Alpha, I couldn't see a situation where they made it out alive right there.
I think the only way they do is if they send all 3 to wrap around that angle where Marshall is, try and use that building to the opponent's distraction, but that's easier said than done. It would have to be hyper-coordinated. They'd all taken damage. They had to heal up. Not an ideal situation in any case, but ideal for RTG, who was able to walk away with the chicken dinner here in game number 1, which means we need to head to a short break. When we come back, our analysts break it down. We get into game number 2.
When the world has safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines, how can we make sure they reach the people that need them most? Today, there are many vaccines in development. Most will fail. For those that could succeed, governments are under pressure to secure supplies for their populations. If governments compete for vaccines, most countries could miss out. This is not only bad for countries that cannot secure their own supplies. It's bad for us all, as no one is safe until everyone is safe. The COVAX pillar aims to ensure that every country gets fair and equitable access to eventual COVID-19 vaccines. It does this by acting as an insurance policy, with the largest portfolio of vaccine candidates in the world. Wealthier countries have a greater chance of gaining access to successful vaccines. And by pooling their buying power, rather than competing against one another, they enable investment in factories. So more doses are available as soon as a vaccine becomes available. The COVAX pillar is founded on the principle of equitable access. This means any country, regardless of their ability to pay, has the same access to vaccines. By supporting the development and manufacturing of these vaccines, wealthy countries increase their chances of getting COVID-19 vaccines and ensure the rest of the world gets access too. Ending the pandemic as quickly as possible will take a global effort. We need as many doses as possible, as fast as possible, as soon as a safe and effective vaccine becomes available. 2 billion doses would be enough to vaccinate healthcare workers and other high-risk groups. If we start now, we can save hundreds of thousands of lives, not to mention trillions of dollars. It's not about one country versus another. It's about one world protected.
We've got the OnePlus 9 Pro, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, this display is just out of this world.
Insane. It's got 65 watts of charging power.
The 9 series is next level.
PUBG Mobile World Invitational kicks off July 22nd to July 25th. We've prepared a special team cheer event for our players. First, let's take a deeper look at how this event works. Invite your friends to support your favorite team and get awesome rewards. In this event, we will use cheer points to rank the competing teams. Fans of the team with the most cheer points at the end of the event will have a chance to get a permanent item. The event period is split between the cheer period and the reward period. The cheer period is from July 15th to July 27th. During this period, players have 2 ways of obtaining cheer points. The first method is via daily missions. Log in every day and watch matches for 5 minutes at the Esports Center to get cheer points. The second method is by sharing an invitation code with friends. Inviting friends to participate will also earn cheer points. Every player is limited to linking 1 invite code per day. The more friends that link with you, the more cheer points you can get. Now that you understand cheer points, then it's time to pick out a team that you want to support. Lock in the team and support your team with cheer points during the cheer period to help them reach number 1. If you wish to keep up with the progress of your chosen team, then take a look at the real-time cheer leaderboard. The cheer leaderboard will be locked on the final day of the cheer period on 0 hour of July 27th, after which the rewards period will begin. The reward period is from July 27th to July 30th. All fans of the team that reached number 1 on the cheer leaderboard should go back to the event page and draw 5 times for amazing rewards. Bring your friends and cheer for your favorite team. Experience the glory of the highest level of competition.
The PUBG Mobile World Invitational is powered by Gamers Without Borders and brought to you by OnePlus, the official smartphone provider, Nemo TV, the official streaming platform, and STC, the official playout sponsor. Now, Frost has been a curse over the last few days for quite a few teams out there. However, he did predict Alpha 7 to win. They did do fairly well, but at one point in that match, he said, all right, they've won it. They've done it. Well, they transition in towards the ditch with the car. He's like, it's done. It's over. Alpha 7 win. And then they get knocked out thereafter. But at least that curse isn't as powerful as it was on our previous days. Jason Captain still joined by Frost and Severworlds Gaming to help break down that first match of our day. And we did have all of our predictions do fairly well. We had Ghost doing well. Raad did pretty well. And of course, Alpha 7 as well. So, 7, how do you feel about this curse?
I'm feeling, I mean, the curse, I don't know, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I think he just can't say specifically what's going to happen during the game, because as soon as he said they're going to win like 1,000 times, they started losing. So, but hey, to be fair, 17 points for Alpha 7 looks really good right there for him. 19 Esports, 17 points as well. Remember, this is one of those teams that we were saying they're the top 3 teams in Erangel. They proved it right there. RTG Esports, this is going to be their second chicken dinner in Erangel on the first match 2 of Erangel. So interesting stuff. Are we going to finally see that wake up? Who knows? We'll have to wait for that and find out. Ghost Gaming, 15 points, 9 kills. This is something that I love to see. We are going to go a little bit more in depth into Ghost Gaming, so stay tuned for that. Team Onyx, 13 points. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Frost, with this performance from Team Onyx, I don't think they're going to be last anymore.
No, I don't think so. I think they pushed themselves up a little bit, and that's what we wanted to see, right? We saw them yesterday doing good, and now they're continuing that road, and that's exactly what you want to see, because we're past halfway point. You can't really just justify doing bad because you're just waiting and seeing what the other teams are doing. Now's the time to perform, if any time, and that's what we see from some of the top teams here. Korea Power, they got themselves 7 points. Well, they're still keeping themselves towards the top with that. We saw them coming into today on a second place, or a tied first place, I think it was. Then you have QLash from France with 6 points, and UDR Kills from Spain with 5 points there. not too bad. But I mean, if we look at 9th to 16th, we're gonna see some of the other teams, maybe some teams that we did predict to do a little bit better. I would say if we go down a little bit, seeing a team like Nextruya going out with 0 points. Remember, they were coming in here with a lead coming into today. I'm pretty sure they dropped that lead after dropping the bomb on a 0-pointer here in the first game. But hey, only 1 game, still a lot more games to go. Shivas, on the other hand, this is their worst Erangel game, only getting 1 point here today. Now, I mean, it's 1 game, so maybe they'll gradually get more points on the Erangel games because they need to make up for it. We talked about them. We said that they're one of the better Erangel teams. They need to show us that as well.
I think they will be able to. I think it was just a surprise there from La Nostra. I think they were the ones that were able to beat them. And then Alpha 7 came in and just kind of finished everything going on right there. But for me, it's the next Ruya and the Guns Esports being able to only get 0 points. That was definitely a huge surprise. And I think if you would have asked us if we expected that to happen, I would have said no.
Well, Frost would have said probably they would have won the game, and that's why they got 0 points at the end.
I didn't say that.
But we got to talk about... I was saying he probably would have. Let's take a look, though, at our winner from the last match, RTG. And we got to give him a little bit of love here and a lot of respect as well. Able to pull off the chicken dinner. Again, a lot of points going their way as we can see their stats from our first 2 days of play up against their average stats here of today. Well, average. There's only been 1 match. And we can see, I mean, obviously performing above the average at the moment. El Chapo, again, the question comes into RTG. Can he stay alive? Because he has, was it 5 minutes less played on average than the rest of his teammates?
15 less. 15 less, so it's a lot less, but
5 per match on average.
Okay, yeah, that is true. But at the same time, what you're seeing, of course, is that we're seeing a lot more points here after 1 game. Of course, they won it, so that's great to see, but we want to see more from them. And you gotta remember, they're one of the best teams on Sanhok, and that's gonna be the next game, so I'm hoping to see a lot more from this team. So far, in the first day, we saw them on 2nd place on their first Sanhok game. Yesterday, they got themselves a 4th place, so today, I'm expecting at least a 3rd place from this team here. But looking at it though, 9 kills here, that's really good. They've been averaging out on 2.7 throughout the whole day 1 and 2. So a little bit lower than what you want to see from a team like this, especially with the kind of start they had. They won the first game. They had a 2nd place in the 2nd game of the whole tournament, and then it dropped off a little bit. But now's the time for them to pull it back together.
Luckily for them, for RTG, Senku has actually been a star player for them. He's been able to get 12 kills in a span of those 3 days. And I mean, if he's able to stay alive, and if El Chapo, as Jason was alluding to, is able to stay alive as well, could we see a duo out of that team? Anything can happen here. I'm just glad to see them back on the winning side. Remember, they had not won a game since day 1. That's why their stats are actually maybe a little bit more padded. I think if we were to remove that day 1 and actually just do day 2, boy, we would see a huge and even bigger contrast.
Well, speaking of big contrasts, I mean, we look at a certain team here hailing from the US of A in day 1 and 2, not performing too well, but finally Ghosts do wake up. They do start to haunt the lobby a bit here as they get themselves a decent place and finally probably their best game, if I'm not mistaken, over the course of this event so far. We're going to look at their stats here in the individual level from this last match. And we can see here, HH24. 1,000 damage being done here. Again, we obviously have such superstars on the team. Anyone can frag at any moment, but it seems to be all about 8H24.
It is, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, Jason, because that's the man I want to talk about here. He is the problem. He is the one that, if he can pop off, this team can actually excel even more. And to put that into perspective, on day 1 and day 2, HH24 combined only had about 1,400 damage. So for him to come on day 3, on the first game, and put up almost as much damage as he has been able to put up in 10 games, I think is going to be huge for this team. Maybe a little bit of a confidence booster. And then we have Tensa. I mean, we know Tensa can get kills. We know the Spec can get kills. That's why I've never worried with Ghost Gaming when it comes to kills. If they can get the placement points right, then guess what? The kills are going to come for them. We saw Beowulf also being able to be the last one surviving for this team. Overall, Ghost Gaming is starting to spark it up. With this, see this from them yesterday, so I don't want to just kind of start alluding to an amazing day that they're going to have. I want to see what they're going to be able to do in Sanhok. Remember, they had a first great game yesterday on Erangel. In the first Erangel we played, they went into Sanhok, and everything just went belly up. So hopefully they can actually perform a little bit better here on this upcoming Sanhok.
Well, I'd rather you say that than Frost say that, because you know it's going to happen, unfortunately, if he did. Though there is another team who has been starting to spark it up and light up the fires here in their bellies. We have Onyx. We looked at day one, not looking too good at all, bottom of the table. And as you mentioned before, Seven, they have been able to catapult themselves out of last place. But we're going to compare how they did yesterday versus today, because yesterday was the first day we got to see some life within the team here and kind of compare the numbers between the two. The question comes again, consistency, like Ghost here. Yes, we've had a good one game, but can they continue to be playing well throughout the rest of the matches?
Yesterday we saw them with that one game where they did really good. Now I expect them to do really well today here, coming in with this first game here. Get himself a 4th place, 5 kills. That's what we love to see, because the other days so far, the other games, it hasn't really been to the performance that we want to see them. But that little sparkle, that little shine we saw from them on Miramar, where they won the game with 12 kills, that tells the whole story, I feel like. That's the potential that you can see from this team. And this is what they've shown us here in the previous game. And I want to see more of this coming into Sanhok now.
I think the pressure of them being last finally got to them. And also, shout out to their player 9. He's been able to perform really well. He has 11 knocks. But I see you smiling, Jason. But he hasn't been able to confirm those knocks into actual kills and those extra points. So hopefully they can start turning those knocks into kills and points.
I'm just smiling because I know people out there are starting to cheer for their country, making sure to do that within the game, because there are going to be rewards given out to the people who do it the best. So make sure you guys try to do that as much as possible here over the course of these last 2 days. And speaking of 2, we're into our second match here in just a few seconds. So we'll bring back our 2 commentators, a Mustache David and Viram, to take you all underway here with the action.
Thank you so much, Jason. We're back once again now with game number 2 on Sanhok. Sanhok, Dave, 4. We only get 4 of them over the entire weekend. So far, they've been, about how you expect. They've been Sanhok.
Tropical, as we like to put it. Moist, as Jason put it yesterday. I'm looking at Destiny. I'm hoping, if you're a Destiny fan, you got your fingers crossed right now for Germany that they do get favored up there to that northwest. Those cliffs that we've seen play a huge role in high placement points, high kill games, and even chicken dinners. But that definitely gets favored. And the last 2 games that we played here, it just hasn't been looking that way for Destiny. And they commit so many resources with making that their drop spot that you hope that they can get at least 1 game of Sanhok in their favor. So that's the squad I'm looking for. I'm rooting for this game.
Yeah, Destiny's been one of these teams that I feel like they've flown under a bunch of people's radar, but they're actually insanely good. And I just want to see them play up to that potential here once again. We're going to see a lot of these split drops here once again on Sanhok. It's becoming incredibly common. I'm not surprised even in the least, just because the priority of getting all those meds early as you can. So we'll see. We'll see how this is going to go for them here. If they don't lose any players early, can continue to center up. I think they might be in okay shape, but if we see like a southeastern circle, Dave, it could be kind of gross for them. We'll see. Oh no,
that's what we had yesterday. Remember, we had Cave, like right, that little inlet by Cave, like that was the spot. If you haven't watched it, make sure you go watch it, because it was a pretty exciting game. And circle number 1, okay, it does go up. Destiny up there, you're in it for the time being. But Shiva's pretty dead center. Talk about another squad being dead center right here, representing Egypt. Spoke to Desha here this morning, and I was surprised. They told me the squad has been playing together for 3 whole years. So they got a tight friendship going on, communication on point. And their goal here in PUBG Mobile World Invitational is to be known worldwide. They're known in Egypt. Everybody knows them in Egypt from dominating, but they're looking to make a name for themselves on that global stage.
I mean, that's amazing. In any esport, let alone here in PUBG Mobile, where teams feel like they're constantly changing up, to be together for 3 years. I remember that the original Tempo Storm roster was together for like 12 months or something. And that was like a big deal. But 3 years, that is incredible. That to me honestly makes me want to root for this team even more, because it's such a pure goal, Dave. They just want people outside of their country to know them. But here, honestly, playing on this stage, getting exposed to this audience we never have heard of them before, what better opportunity? And Desha pulling off the plays we saw from him yesterday, that's how you get your name out there.
Some people don't even have shoes that old, all right? Let alone a whole team to stick it through the thick and the thin. Like, I agree with you. It's a gem. It's a gem, in my opinion. And as of right now, 12th place. 12th place. So hopefully they can make some moves happen today. Yesterday, though, highlight play yesterday. Almost a 1v4 with the M249. I had to message him, like, dude, M249, question mark? And like, yeah, you know, so close. They were happy, though. They were happy with their results. So we'll see. They have a decent spot right now in this Sandhawk zone. Pretty center. And look like Team Onyx, they were able to kind of pull off that one. We almost saw Master get taken out again early.
Yeah, Master is one of those high-risk, high-reward players where either we saw in the last game he was able to get the jump on their opponents, able to get that 2v1, or just gets caught out in no man's land. Dude's off in Narnia, stumbled through a random wardrobe, and here we are. So hopefully Master can play a little bit more with the rest of the squad as we're seeing 19E doing some scouting now. So I was also taking a look at chat yesterday because we had a perception that GFan was IGLing here for this squad, but according to chat, and if I'm wrong, I blame you. Apparently, Sam's the one who's been doing the most of the IGLing, which kind of makes a little bit of sense as GFan's sort of the new player on the roster to have Sam, who's been there a little bit longer with more consistency, to help be that guiding voice. So I don't dislike that call at all, but it's just sort of interesting given GFan's just absolute wealth of experience. There are a few players in all of North America who have as much competitive experience as him.
I'll one-up you, and I got it from the source, you know?
Okay.
Talked to GFan and said, hey, I heard this. Is this true? Like, I'm shocked if it is. And they said, yeah, you know, since they are a new addition to the squad, they kind of wanted to sit back and see what could happen. So Sam is IGLing, but GFan is giving some assistance, though. All right, I'm just going to put that out there. Giving some assistance when needed. So far, though, 19 esports, considering the team is fairly new working together, 4th place, hello? they're doing great.
So I think one of the biggest things here, and I may shut up in a moment if this fight breaks out, but oftentimes when you see like a powerhouse roster come together, it's like 4 crazy fraggers. It's like 4 insane fraggers, and they all come together, and you're like, this on paper, this should be great. But it doesn't work because they're all 4 crazy fraggers, and they're not always thinking about the higher level strategy of the game. Whereas this squad, yes, you've got the young gun and a player like Xenox, but you have that older, more veteran experience, the calmer minds of GFan. You've got Sam in there as well, and then Acer. So just so much competitive experience, but not all about just being crazy fraggers, about playing with the team, about thinking about it from a strategic level. And I think that is why this team is performing so much better, despite the fact that they're incredibly new.
And a lot of people, they like to call it like that honeymoon phase as well. Like the team, everybody's super open-minded, happy to be working together. A lot of information, tips and tricks kind of flowing back and forth in all directions. And I think that environment just has been opening up all 4 players here in this event. Yeah, it's a short event, but if they can finish top 5 in 20 games here at this level of competitive play with teams from around the world, that's an accomplishment. That accomplishment goes in the Twitter bio, confirmed.
I mean, it's an accomplishment, and you're doing some good because the money is going to charity. Let's not forget here, ladies and gents. Not only is it great because you can say, yes, I did this, I accomplished something, but you also help put money towards a fantastic cause. So it's just a win, 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 win. There's just so many wins, just W's all the way down the line. As we're seeing things slowing down here on Sandhawk, we're going to ignore Itsu, running themselves over, whatever happened there in the kill feed.
Yeah.
But this has been fairly slow, all things considered, for Sandhawk. I think because teams are starting to appreciate, Dave, that if you commit on one of these fights, you better be damn well sure you can finish it because some other team will come in and finish it for you.
It's good and bad, right? It's good in a sense like, okay, yeah, we're alive. We made it to 20 minutes in game. But then it's bad because we're 20 minutes into the game and there's still 14 teams alive. It's like, okay. If we die here, how many points is that? Oh, 0.
I think it's 0?
Yeah. It's 0. So almost for me, like if I was like coach, I'd be like, hey, if you could get some easy early game kills, especially on Sandhawk, you have to do it. If you get 1, if you get 2, for me, 2 kill points early on Sandhawk is a huge offset to the risk of that situation that happens all the time that we just talked about. 20 minutes into the game, 14 teams alive. 0 points. I'd rather get 2 points and get taken out early than last 20 minutes and get 0 points.
Well, a team who might not be getting 0 points here is exactly that's Chivas. Taking some shots over at Nextria Gaming, who got knocked out first on that last one as well. They came into the day tied for first place, but that goose egg that you're talking about, they were on the receiving end of it last time around, as they are able to make the crossing, though, onto the southwest island. The smoke should be able to give them enough cover to make their way out. Nicely done. Fran, though, able to do a pretty stellar amount of damage, all things considered, especially at that range with the M4.
I had to input a little side note right here. Clash on that boat Tate. First boat Tate I think we see on Sandhawk. We saw a ton of boat Tates on Aragal with those military-based zones, of course, but we'll see what Clash can do. And back to your point, getting taken out early, and more specifically, our squad that we're looking at right now representing Turkey, like they came into today first place. And we had this conversation before. Is it easier to maintain that first place spot, or is it easier to chase it down? And honestly, I feel like a lot of eyes always look at that first place squad, and that might be what we're seeing here today. But we'll get back to that because we got some long range battles.
Fighting.
Okay, it sizzled out a little bit, but yeah, long range.
That's only because Sandro found a rock. It's not because Turnip Power doesn't want to keep shooting at him. Sandro, get your head down. ER killers, though, I said, I keep coming back to it. They do well at these long-range fights. Turnip Power, though, is not a squad that I would want to mess with too much, especially at this point right before the circle is about to switch. That's the big thing. You want to be conscious about when you take these fights. You don't want to keep yourself in a bad spot because this next circle will determine quite a bit. It is centering up. Looks like it will be favoring this southern island Destiny. I like the position they're in. They've stayed on this island on the off chance that it should shift upwards. They would have been in a fantastic position. Now they do have to rotate through. 19E may play gatekeeper. But we're also looking at it Clash, Dave. The problem is they now have to make a call. Do they stay out in the water? Do they play it real slow? Or do they dive bomb it in towards... Well, I mean, it's going to be Onyx. That's the call they've got to make. Do they go for dry land? They've got to make the call, but they're all in one boat. It could be disastrous for them.
Yeah, I see them moving a little bit further towards the land. We see teams, sometimes they're all the way out there on the edge. They might actually pop out the boat, kind of swim around the boat, behind the boat. But with only having one, yeah, you open yourself up to somebody spotting out that boat, blowing up that boat, and then you're just, good luck swimming. So as of right now, Clash, it looked like they might have spotted out some enemies out there, Onyx. They made a U-turn. They're heading back up towards the north, towards Destiny. So we might have some action with our pirates out there on the 7 Seas.
Yeah, I can see them heading right towards all the swimming players of Destiny. Would love to check that out as well, as Ghost Gaming is moving in here dead center. It looks like they want to be moving in towards Pine On. This is exactly what we're talking about. Clash and Destiny. Destiny's going to be aware of this. Clash have been able to find the one opening, the one timing window that this play actually works before Destiny is able to make landfall. What an accidentally genius play. I am floored. And considering they started off with only 3 players, they're the first one to lose, only team to lose a player early to 19E. But they're not looking out there. Spotted Destiny. They didn't know. They don't know, Dave.
They do not know. So Destiny's going to be popping on the shores like some Navy SEALs catching Clash off guard. Before we get back to that, though, we're popping over to the tail end of this engagement. Daddy's still alive out there, though. Needs to avoid these grenades from Frozen. Daddy, we've seen them time and time again. They like to go for those off angles. They like to wrap around and really catch him off guard.
Yeah, that's sort of the staple of this player. This squad, though, I feel like every time we tune into them, they're losing a player early. I feel like we never see this squad with all 4 players alive. I just feel like they play it a little bit brash, a little bit off the cuff. I don't think they necessarily respect how good all their opponents are all the time, because they go for these really gutsy, aggressive plays, and they haven't necessarily done the legwork, the scouting, the setup, the foundation in order to fully execute them. And time and again, we've seen them be punished. We know they've got the individual gun skills, but they need to play together as a team to make it work.
Exactly. Individual gun skills. That's the key takeaway right there. We've seen each player from Loconosha be able to get into these situations and win those fights, but when we're talking about teamwork, it's like rubbing 2 rocks together. It's just not doing much. So Frozen,
Where are we going with it? Yeah, rubbing 2 rocks together.
Great metaphor. They're not doing much.
You've got flint and steel, and then you think
that does something.
That does something.
But
this
2 rocks
that. This is just
nothing.
2 rocks.
That was my point.
These are the caveman plays. I see what's going on. As Ghost Gaming is looking to get involved here.
I appreciate
That's
it.
another down onto Loca Nostra. I actually love that analogy, smashing 2 rocks together. Why is it not doing anything? Oh, that's kind of what it feels like, though, because they are in a rough spot. They are sandwiched hard between Nextria and Ghost is coming into the day angry, Dave. They are big mad.
Thing is, yesterday, Ghost, they started really strong, game 1, Erangel, and then they came into Sandhawk and, got put to a halt. So we see them all separating, and it looks like they are going to be respecting the next circle shift because...
I was going to say, yeah, look at that circle, Dave.
60% water, if I had to put the water percentage on it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of unplayable terrain right now, and this was that fight. Oh, Clash. No clue. They did not see those bobbling heads in the water as they boated on by, and Destiny just popping up on the shore. Destiny now in such a strong spot. I'm curious, though, how will they defend? Because a lot of people are going to be looking to kind of crash the coastlines right now.
And I was like, Clash, you have this accidentally beautiful timing window. Turns out it wasn't beautiful for them. It was beautiful for Destiny, who took the slower play. They popped out in absolute perfect unison and made it look fantastic as once again, teams are getting caught out on these reckless sends. This time it's going to need a power. Again, Dave, this 2-2 split has punished them every time. Part of me is wondering what would happen if they tried to play more of a 3-1. We're seeing another fight break out. Once again, Destiny continuing to get involved. This time it's against 19 Esports. You're getting third party to boot from Chivas as well. 19E, Dave, out of the frying pan into the fire. They are in a rough spot. They're about to go down.
Yeah, in this situation, Destiny definitely in the stronger position because they have the room to pull back on the opposite end of the hill. We saw 19E trying to push over that hill, immediately spotted from Chivas from behind, and they're just tunnel vision right now on that position. And another kind of caveat, 19E, they're going to need to watch their back end because Alpha 7, yeah, that position that 19E are in, they have 3 teams right now pretty much surrounding them. And I don't know if they're going to make it out on a lap. Yeah, look at that's the angle I was talking about. 19E, they're just like ducks right now, just sitting there and hoping that, I mean, Acer's in a bush. Acer's hoping that that bush is enough camouflage.
I mean, at least for G-Fan, this is basically where Nova Esports drops on Sandhawk. So very familiar with the landscape. Not going to do a whole lot for you at this point, as they're just heads down in the water trying to survive as Alpha 7 is moving in, and that's going to be it. Acer goes out. 19E, just a little bit of bad rotation and other teams punishing them there, not able to get enough groundwork. I wish they'd been able to take over that compound that Destiny was in before Destiny rotated in. I think that would have been big for them here, not getting forced out onto this barren terrain out here on the outside. This hard shift just did not play well for them because so many teams came into their space. And now Destiny, Dave, the team that showed up on day number 1, got quiet on day number 2, is looking to go loud again here in game number 2.
I see Destiny getting wiped right here. And the reason I say that is because Senatexa, you can tell with the way they're moving, the new light machine gun they're carrying is just like a +10 in confidence department. Like, they're just sending it right now, getting some additional ammo. There's 75 rounds in that machine gun. Like, that thing, and it fires faster than a Vector and does double the damage. So, Destiny, you got the cover. Don't be peeking them heads because Senatexa is looking for him, especially with the 6 times on that bad boy. It's going to be insane.
That's going to be quite terrifying, especially because they did just get the circle. Revu is scouting. They realize that there's still one player of 19 Esports left, and they think they have a guess about where that player is. Another hard shift, though. But again, we knew not be favoring the water all the way up here just outside of Ruins. That's the big thing. So this southern portion of the circle, all these teams coming in, going to be interesting to see. Also, RTG, Dave, they played in the blue this entire game. They have not been in the zone for like 8 minutes. This is pretty crazy.
And 4 alive. Hey, 4 alive. So maybe we'll see them late game. Like, hey, there they are. Hey, 4 alive. We're starting to unravel their strategy right now. So we'll see if they can survive as Ghost Gaming on the edge. Not quite in the zone. I'll be over here trying to gatekeep. Keep Turkey, see if they can keep him out. Daddy's still alive in the back end as well.
Yeah, Daddy did a great job surviving that off-angle player, able to snake their way through. The kill feed is continuing to light up. Kudir up here on the high ground, though, is going to have a great position, not only to gather intel onto Ghost, potentially be able to get this opening knock, but Spec is well aware. But Ghost is in a rough one because they are not in this next circle. They have to move forward. At Nextria Gaming, they are in the prime position to play Gatekeeper.
Yeah, we see, I believe, Bayo taking some shots on that guard tower just to keep them pinned down, you know, prone, and to allow their squad mates to push up just a little more. But UDR, Pocus in the grass, right there, getting a knock and even a kill.
Yeah, nicely done. I mean, that's going to help them be able to push in a little bit further here. But Guns, oh, that position they're in is so good right now. They are going to have to move for this next circle, though. But having that hard cover to work with is fantastic. Godsend is just stuck out here in the blue. Dave, it's Sandhawk. Why would you expect anything else?
Papa Blue always has the last laugh when we're looking at Sandhawk. And Guns already moving on out of there. The next zone does shift. They're going to be pretty much pushing uphill in their vehicles right into Onyx. So Onyx with the advantage, they have the uphill, they have the cover, and the zone. We'll see if they can defend. Guns, super strong team, and a lot of teams right now just trying to fight their way in right now towards the south and just survive.
Yeah, oh, we can see all these long-range shots. Nuggets is getting involved from the blue. No, they're not long for this world. They're going to try and take down as many teams as possible with them as Onyx is continuing to keep the pressure up there on that cliff. They've got a great spot, but they lost the zone. Dave, it's centered up on RTG, who rotated in from the blue into Ruins. This team, I'm losing my mind over it, Dave. It's absolutely nuts as Ghost Gaming continue to push it now into Nextria Gaming, take a lot of damage, but Ghost is taking more. They're in a terrible position. They're getting pinched from all sides. Tommy Gun Tensa's looking to put the pressure back on, but can't find the shot. Spec drops, and just like that, Ghost Gaming is out in 15th place. Dave, deja vu. Game 1 to game 2, 2 days in a row. What's up with Ghost?
Hey, just a tight spot right there. I mean, honestly, no circle luck, and not only that, like, yeah, you had UDR pulling up right behind you, so that's a classic sandwich right there for Sandhawk. It's Guns. Okay, take it out. Onyx showing up, putting in some work here today.
I mean, that's what you need to do. 19E also finally going down, getting a little bit more in terms of placements there for G-Fan. Not ideal, as we're seeing Nextria Gaming. They did a fantastic job gatekeeping Ghost, and now they're just holding back the line as all these other teams are pushing in. I feel like it's the hot gates right now, where these 4 players are fighting off an army of enemies.
The hot potato hot gates. Everyone's trying to pass it off to the enemies, and hey, look at them. No, look at me, because once we start to take some shots, everybody down here is going to be looking in your direction, trying to take you out, trying to get those kills. But look at the teamwork right now, all moving together as a unit. 9 AKM in hand. Go for the spray. Oh, but traded on.
Oh, nicely done there from Nextria Gaming. The team should use a little bit better. The third party comes in as well, as Nomi, I believe it was, looking to get in there. No, it was just a play zone as well. Great little play there from Nextria Gaming. And they're just out too. Wow.
Couple kills though. Couple kills, and when we're looking at Sandhawk, that is perfect. I talked about it. 20 minutes in, 8 teams. That's 1 placement point. So if you could die right now with 4 or 5 kills, that's a win. That is a huge win in my book. And let's see, looking around. Yeah, we got a lot of solos.
Circle.
A lot of solos right now too.
We do indeed. But Dave, you want to talk about winning? 4 players up, hard cover in the zone, only team in it. Ra'ad is in a winning position right now. RTG did a fantastic position late rotating in. They took over Ruins, but they're going to have to push their Chivas to move next. Alpha 7, UDR, KP, LN, Destiny, Solo City, Dave. It's Solo City.
So Shivas can use this Defilade on the road to possibly provide some cover. Yeah, we can see them just pretty much sending it for free, not even spotted. But RTG is going to roll up right behind them. Here it is.
This is the fight we were looking for, the pure 4v4, the 2 squads that took it easy, looking to go hard. As those shots from El Chapo, if he stays alive, he is an absolute menace, as it is a 2v1 situation, as Nito was looking to get off the first aid. Will the revives come out? Chapo going on over, AK in hand. Can they find the shots? Wide peek, and there it is. Chapo, huge plays from RTG, but now, Dave, their fight is just getting started.
Yeah, they're going to have to push uphill here, basically, because look at this next circle. And Egypt, we talked about them. They're trying to make it so the world knows their name. We talked about it. 3 years playing together. Okay, let's see what they can do here. This is looking like their winner chicken dinner. They just need to make sure not to overexpose themselves in that window to get knocked out for free, as they clearly have the advantage in the situation.
Huge advantage here. If they want to prove how they compete on the world stage, this is their game to win. They need to make sure they can do it. But with shots and nades like that coming in, the team play. One player shoots the door and the other one throws the nade through it. Are you kidding me? Kunina power on another level.
Get the pickup. But look at Daddy from behind trying to sneak up, trying to backstab, take advantage of the situation. Konina Power still a duo, but they're playing right now like they're a squad.
This is, I mean, Dave, that play was absolutely massive. Delhop with the off angle is going to have to try and get through there. Have they been able to get the revives off? Yes, they are, chaining those together, which is huge. Kunina Power, nobody's going to have a helmet right now. Not an ideal situation. Can still land those shots, Dave. No hesitation. That M4 going rat-a-tat-tat. The molly to seal the deal from Daddy from behind.
Daddy trying to steal some of these points. Nomi inflicting so much damage through that door. But look at this. RTG trying to third-party Konina Power.
10K able to stay alive. Daddy's been exposed. RTG with that nade all the way over. El Chapo, you absolute fiend. Top 4 finish, though, from Loconostra, which, considering how this game started, more than they could have asked for. Odds still holding on in a 3v2v2. One of the problems with this compound, Dave, is that it put a target on their backs. Everyone knows they're there. So many windows to try and keep track of, and the amount of nades these players have left, it's just not fair.
Just one grenade after another. I think the mollies will inflict the most damage. The spread on them right now, it goes far and wide, and they are just stacked on top of each other. Konina Power, if they play their cards right, they could come out on top right here and back to that molly. Yeah, look at that. You can't do nothing. You're on fire. Rod.
I mean, the one player, though, Mornir, who came on the outside, appreciated that they had to make a different play from a different angle. Every single team is shooting at each other right now. RTG's going to drop. It comes down to Kunina Power and Raad. Raad still finds the shots, and they still get it done. Absolutely incredible play there from them at the end. Raad so close to losing it all, and they turn it around. Dave, no one was expecting them to bail at the back of that compound. No one was expecting the wide flank. That snake in the grass bit. Oh, my goodness, I thought they weren't winning that. That was insane.
Dude, they were getting shredded, but I think at the end of the day, simple math, right? Simple math. They had 4 outplayed game. Yeah, they kept getting traded for those knocks back and forth, but the other squads had a duo, and then a solo Daddy from behind. So GG's. I mean, GG's. Yeah, they got some luck with those zones to be able to remain in that compound for some time. But like you said, to be able to sneak one of their players out of that compound for free without getting taken down in the process, well, that right there, that's the game-winning play right there. And that's exactly what we saw. They got the win at the end.
I mean, as we take a look back, Dave, it comes down to that killer instinct. It comes down to that knowledge of what we're doing right now isn't working. I need to make a change. That last play to bail out the back, jump up behind. Everybody knew where everybody was, or so they thought. Or so they thought. That was the biggest difference maker there. Oh, that cheap
I didn't see
missed that.
Yeah, what?
We missed that live. That Cybertruck doing absolute work. Oh my goodness. And this was the big play at the end. The Destiny, the pop-off moment. 19E though. I think of all the teams when it comes to luck in the server, 19E had the least.
Yeah. Three different squads. Like, you got nowhere to go. We saw Acer in that bush at the end, but not a Dave's top 10 bush because you got taken out. Shivas, though, do we give out style points? Because if we did, that pull-up in that Cybertruck right there, that's at least plus 20 style points. But here's kind of where Ghost Gaming started to not get so fortunate. The zones kept not favoring them, forced to push uphill, and just pinched between 2 different teams.
Yeah, not ideal at all. And this was the setup. Looking to him, Rahad had this compound early, and they were able to stay in it for the entire game. RTG came in late through Ruins, put on an absolutely stellar performance, and Konina Power got involved as well. I mean, that's just deadly. But it was this last play here. It was his last play from Murnir. This was it. I mean, that snake in the grass, Dave, I can't say enough good things.
And Rod, I can only imagine their helmets, their vests, they might not even had any because they got knocked so many times that compound. We saw Alpha 7. Everybody and their mother was taking shots at that compound, but they somehow still managed to come out on top. Winner, chicken dinner, GG's. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back after the break with some more PUBG Mobile action.
I've got a difficult mission for you. Who's in? Close to 1 billion people from 92 of the world's poorest countries need to be vaccinated. You'll need to work closely with governments and health authorities, and it will take millions of volunteers. And it has to be cheap. This is a mission only a few organizations can handle. It is the world's biggest and fastest distribution of a vaccine ever. Equipment such as needles, canisters, visors, protective suits, and sanitizer need to be in place first. All of this has to be transported to the most inaccessible corners of the world. The vaccine has to be kept cold constantly. If not, it's all for nothing. And when the vaccine gets close, a population without mobile phones or internet needs to get the message. Thousands of health workers have to be trained to perform vital work. No one is safe until everyone is vaccinated, so we can't stop until that's a reality. But even though we're doing this because lives are on the line, this is real life and not a game. You don't get a new life if you fall, or if you drown trying to save lives. We have no lives to lose, but we're willing to risk a lot to vaccinate the whole world. As long as the virus exists, the whole world is in danger.
Before we were anywhere near the extent we're at now, Alicia and her team were working tremendously hard to address perceived future drug shortages.
The idea with the ICU kit at the beginning was trying to think of a way that we could help these patients that are critical in ICU settings. In this case, it was kind of the next layer of protection for this response. In the kit, we have a few different types of medications, antibiotics for secondary bacterial infections, as well as blood pressure support, so vasopressors. Things like albuterol inhalers, we were learning, were highly requested in hospitals. Medications that are used for intubation and sedation that help with that process. Each one of these kits is designed to have about 100 courses of antibiotics and supportive medications. The first 2 are headed up to Northern California in the Bay Area, which is especially hard hit, and the next 11 are going to hospitals across New Jersey, and we'll have about 80 of them going to New York City. In the end, we're just feeling really fortunate that we're able to support our partners with these medications that they need so desperately.
The wisdom, the expertise that I think this team has demonstrated in being able to help us as a community partner, but also hospitals and healthcare systems around the country struggle with drug shortages, which are now a reality, I think just speaks volumes to the impact DR has.
We've got the OnePlus 9 Pro, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, this display is just out of this world.
Insane. It's got 65 watts of charging power.
The 9 series is next level.
The PUBG Mobile World Invitational is powered by Gamers Without Borders and brought to you by OnePlus, the official smartphone provider, Nemo TV, the official streaming platform, and STC, the official playout sponsor. And I don't know what it is about today here on day 3 of the PUBG Mobile World Invitational, but it seems to be that we are doing some insane stuff. It seems to be our predictions are on point, and hopefully they continue to be on point here for all of the teams out there, considering they would love to have our predictions on their side, whereas previously the curse of Frost was too strong. Anyways, guys, moving forward into this one, there's so many things to break down. There's so many things to talk about. Frost, I'm going to throw it to you first. Which one do you want to start off with?
Look, I want to start off with, I don't know, who do I want to start off with? That's kind of a good question. But let's start off with Nextria, because I think they had a phenomenal game. Even though they'd only, they had a 10th place, I think. But they had 9 kills, and they were just going through everybody in the start of the game almost, or the mid game. They had to fight so many teams and still get themselves 10 points. That's why they're one of the top teams here right now. But if you look at it, of course, Rad clutching it towards the end there, getting himself 21 points. They had a really rough time. Remember how Kunina Power was just holding him down, and Kunina Power with that double shooting down the door, throwing that nade timing. Ooh, that was just spicy. That was nice to see.
And for me, I mean, Rod, 21 points. I did say that we're going to win the first game, and then I kind of carried on to this match. So I will take full credit for that. 21 points. I'll take that W there, Rod. RTG Esports, I mean, we're going to go into that a little bit more in regards to them. Kunina Power, 16 points, even though we really haven't seen a W from them, a chicken dinner. They are being able to maintain themselves within that consistency of a top 5 team right here, being able to get 16 points. Really big for them. We go down a little bit more, and I think that the biggest one, as you were touching on right there, Frost, Nextria, even though they only got 1 placement points for them to be able to get kills. And this is something our casters have been alluding to, Mustache Dave and Inverum as well. They say, hey, even if you don't get any placement points, with the crazy circles that we're getting here, just secure those kills, because that will definitely be on your side. La Conostra being able to only get 1 kill, but guess what? They were able to make up for it in regards to placement points. We're going to go down a little bit more. Chivas Esports, I think this is a great bounce back here, as we will be going towards the next page. At least they were able to secure 6 kills. Now going back in regards to their consistency when it comes to kills. Team Onyx, the team that was last at some point, guess what? Not last anymore, being able to secure 6 kills. Alpha 7, 4 points, not bad. You know, I'll take it. 19 Esports, as Mustache David and Veer was saying, they were the unluckiest team possible, but they were still able to secure some of those points. And then I want to go down a little bit more towards Ghost Gaming. I mean, this is the second Sandhawk in a row now where they do, the second day actually, pretty much deja vu. What Verum was saying is they do well on the first Erangel, and then going to the Sandhawk, everything just goes crazy, and they end up only getting either 1 point or 0 points. So interesting stuff, and something to keep in mind there with Ghost Gaming too, Frost.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them yesterday, though, with 2 great games on Erangel, and we saw them today, so of course, in the first game, pretty good, pretty decent first game, right? They had a lot of kills, I think it was 9 kills in a 5th place in the first game, so hopefully they can replicate that and break that deja vu, because we don't want to see what happened yesterday on their second Erangel game, where they got himself a 13th place and 0 kills. That's not what we want to see from him. We want to see what we saw from Ghost in the previous game, straight away, getting that first kill, straight up, making sure that Guns is not bullying them in Pochinki, and then they can just play their own game and make sure that they have all 4 up, and hopefully HH will be just keep on just doing what he did in the game 1.
Speaking of playing their own game, we're going to take a look at our total damage, because I believe RTG was doing just that, maybe a midi game within a PUBG Mobile, considering they were out in the blue for the majority of the time. And then we see here on our damage and kills, actually, it's going to be the 1,636 damage coming for Nextria Gaming. A little bit surprised to not see Rod a little bit higher, a little bit surprised to not see RTG a little bit higher, but at the same time, I think RTG were spending a little bit too much time in the blue to actually do damage until the very end.
And not only that, I mean, with Rod, they didn't really have to move out that much. They had to just hold that compound, wait for everybody to kill each other, and then just being able to protect it. We saw them being able to kind of protect it after they were getting Molotov grenaded and all of that. Now, something with RTG that I do kind of want to mention to the viewers that you guys are not able to see is they were the highest healing team. Even though we had solo players out in the middle of nowhere healing, trying to get those extra placement points, RTG was able to get 2,000 healing, and that is just insane. Luckily for them, and I mean, and this is something that we're kind of talking about before we came into this segment, is that even though it might seem like luck, this team, I personally thought it was luck, but going back to some of the stats, this team just keeps on doing that. They keep on waiting until the very end to actually push in. It worked out wonders there for them, because the Ruins building, as you were mentioning there, Frost, there was absolutely nobody there, and you didn't want to say it, but I'll give you credit for that. The curse has been lifted a little bit, because you say if they take that building in Ruins, they'll be able to move out from there and take on to some teams, and if they win those gunfights, they can end up on a top 2 or top 3 situation.
I mean, that was a great rotation. Coming in from the blue, they knew that they had to go in somewhere, and that's going to be one of the places where you least expect someone to be at, because if someone's over there, they're going to be where Shivas was, or up on the rocks just south of the ruins there. But also, from both Rad and Road to Glory, it's all about those impact damage, impact kills that we've seen from them. Even though they're not topping it off, they know that we only strike when it's actually necessary.
Well, let's look at RTG. You're talking about damage, you're talking about striking out when the time is hot and the time is perfect. Let's take a look at the player stats actually across the board for them. Though I think the healing is going to be probably the most interesting part about this. So obviously, as we saw them sit in the blue buff the majority of the time. But I will say this, Seven, is not the most healing I've seen done, actually. I had a match in PL Western Europe. I think it was like over 3,700 healing by one team. Because they were doing the exact same strategy, sitting in blue the entire time.
One big thing,
just having a picnic back there, huh?
One big thing that we always talk about is El Chapo. Look at this. He's staying alive. He's doing a lot of damage. He's getting those kills. But again, the impact on this, the impact kills was on Shivas. They was just west of the ruins outside there. And they managed to surprise them and caught them off guard, getting that first, the second knock. That opened everything up for them. And they had control over the whole situation. If that didn't happen, if El Chapo didn't get those knocks, it would have been a totally different story. So great to see that. Even though, of course, we see Marshall Carryboy not with the most damage. Marshall managed to get himself one kill, even with only 9 damage. Get that one little steal there, it's important. That's 1 point secured for the team.
9 damage. That's looking like the stats I put up when I play PUBG Mobile. Let's take a look at a different team who definitely does better than I do when it comes to PUBG. Let's take a look at Raad as they've been able to pick themselves up the chicken dinner. And I swear that was like a 1v4 at the very end out of Delhop as well. Like taking down all the members of Canadian Power. At least it felt like it.
Yeah, it definitely feel like it, and something that I kind of wanted to point out, besides Delhop being able to be the main player right out of that squad in that last game, Munir, I felt like him being able to get the angle. He was also able to help some of the other teams in their fights with Canadian Power and also with RTG. He kept doing a little bit of damage there at the end, trying to make sure they kind of knocked each other off, and then being able to get that last kill. Also, Delhop, I mean, he's been on a roll. He's been able to get 2,000 damage pretty much for the past 2 days, and for him to be able to still put up good performances here, that's huge. Now, going to Sadat, remember, Sadat, it was that one player that I mentioned. He might not be able to be the one that's getting the most damage or the most kills, but he is currently the one getting the most average survival time, and not only that, he's also getting the most assists out of his team.
Okay, well, they're obviously fighting for their chance to get a large sum of money over towards charity. You guys at home should be fighting to get the viewer milestones accomplished. For everyone watching the stream, you can get some sweet rewards as well if we do hit those peak concurrent viewer counts. So make sure to tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone out there to get in here and watch the show. It's all for a phenomenal cause. And we also have some phenomenal casters join us back yet again here for our next match of the day, match number 3, as we head back to Aaron Gell and VM and Mustache Dave.
Thanks so much, Jason. We're back once again on Erangel, Dave, the map that we keep coming back to time and again. 60% of our matches here, and it's gotten better and better every single time. We saw Ghost Gaming show up in a big way in game number 1. They dropped off game number 2. Are they going to come back in game number 3? That's my question.
Yes. Okay, there's your answer. Yes. And Sandhawk, listen, whatever happens on Sandhawk stays on Sandhawk. 60% of the games played in this tournament, Erangel. That is what matters. So Ghost Gaming looking to make a repeat here in game number 3 like they did in game number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Day 3, match 3. Let's go.
Well over the halfway mark at this point, which means the pressure is mounting for every single one of these squads. You can leave nothing on the table. Only 8 matches left. And right now, looking at the scores, we've got some haves and some have-nots. I mean, up at the top, 129 points. Konina Power is looking incredibly strong. Squads we're really looking at in the middle, Guns, Destiny, Ghost, Team Queso, they are so far off that, Dave. If they are going to start to turn their fortunes around, if they want to take the whole thing, if they want to help donate that lion's share of that money to charity, this is the game. Go big here. They got to go big here.
And we're looking at Ghost. You already know the story. Ghost versus Guns. Ghost, let's see. This is their game. Somebody DM me. two rocks. They're not going to let me go with that one. Two rocks. So Ghost Gaming looking to not be two rocks this game, but flint and steel to ignite
There it is.
their inner rage to get those kill points this game. I already see some shots popping off. I already see a down indicator right there between that Guns versus Ghost Gaming. So Ghost Gaming already looking to get some points early game.
Ghost Gaming 100% win rate against Guns in this city, not in scrims, but in our games when they matter the most. You teased it on day one. Maybe they sort of sacked a little bit, you know, how well they were playing there, and I don't think that would be the case, because Dave, this is a totally different drop pattern. They've actually been pure hot dropped. They split. Guns is actually going toe-to-toe against their opponents right now. And HH24, Uzi in hand, he ain't having none of it. And a shotgun. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like Guns right now directly in between all four members. And Ghost Gaming, they're looking to section off one enemy at a time. Get them pinned behind that wall. HH. Oh, Spec though. Spec is traded on from Freaks, AKM. Looking to get the confirm. Tensa though, remember, Tensa, a phenomenal player, especially up close and personal. But Bale with that off angle needs to make sure not to get tagged right there.
That's the thing with the AK and the early game. People don't have vests and helmets and stuff like that. That big ammo does so much work, but they're doing with the SCAR as well. And just like this, it's all starting to fall apart for Ghost. Their win rate maybe. Oh, never mind. So starting to turn things back around, trading it out, confirming the kill here. Ghost Gaming said they had to actually lose a player. Bayo is down. They were able to get the revive onto Spec. Great little bit of team play here from Ghost, as it is a 4v2. If they are able to get this full revive, somebody with the high ground, though, is going to be a massive factor in this Ralph. With the nade, primed, cooked. Oh, but Tensa, he was in the animation. His head was down. It didn't quite confirm it. And Tommy Gun Tensa, Dave, is showing up in the server.
Going up, has the advantage up here on the roof. Another trade. HH is just popping off this game. One-man army. Hamoudi, the last one alive right now, making sure to at least get a kill point underneath their belt, but Spec with the UMP to seal the deal with some air punches right there to celebrate, and they did it just in time to get the good old-fashioned Bayo Mayo back up.
Oh, no.
They lost HH, though.
I thought we buried that. Jason, no. Dave, you're not allowed to bring that back. I think, are those punches of joy or are those punches of darn it, we still lost one? Because they almost did that clean. And we talked about it in game number one, and I went and sat and did some math. So if Ghost takes this fight every game, and if they win this fight every game, over the course of all the Erangels we had left to play, that was 24 points. That is almost 2 full chicken dinners worth of points if they kill Guns every single time for every Erangel for the rest of these last 2 days. That's the kind of points they're looking at. There's zero reason for them not to do it every single time if they feel confident that they consistently win. And right now, Dave, they'd have no reason to think otherwise.
I know day one, Mustache Dave, someone say huge Guns fan, representing the team from Iraq. And I still am, I still am. Huge Gun, but Ghost Gaming, hey, USA, I kind of got to root for him here at this point. So right there, HH24, so much work. Talk about clocking in here right now. He punched that ticket. 2 kills to themselves. We saw the SCAR / Uzi combo, and then, of course, Tensa on the roof up there towards the end to try to seal that deal. They used Bayo as bait, for sure. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Bayo, the Bayo bait. So not the Bayo Mayo, but the Bayo bait. Bayo out there on that off angle, trying to catch him with that flank. Caught off guard. Totally fine, though, because that allowed their squad mates, Bayo's squad mates, to kind of collapse just a little closer and surround Guns a little tighter, a little further in. And I think that's what sealed the deal right there for Ghost Gaming to come out on top.
And I also think we always give Bayo a lot of love for being the strategist, the brains. His opening 1v1 win is what set that all up for them. Because Ghost didn't choose that. Guns chose that. They're the ones who hot dropped on Ghost's side of the city. They're the ones who initiated that early game scrap. A bit of retaliation, I figure, from how Erangel went in game number 1, where Ghost cleanly eliminated them over about 15 minutes. I'm not sure if Guns is going to do that again.
It will.
The question now becomes,
it will.
Are they going to do that again?
Yeah, they will.
Are they going to hot drop them like that? Drop a chinky, sure, but are they going to hot drop like that? All right, Dave says yes. Chat, what do you think? let's see what chat thinks. His gun's going to keep going for it because at this point, Dave, 1 point ain't going to cut it.
No, it's not. They are in that mid pack right now. They are in that mid pack. But you have to remember, all the money, all that cash money that's going to be won here tomorrow, all for a good cause. You know, all getting donated, help everybody in need, no one left behind, for those charities to support those communities that can't afford the vaccine. So it's all for a good cause. But when I'm talking, you're taking my Pachinki spot, and on stream, you're going to wipe out my squad in my spot, I think guns, they have to come back, Paul. You know, they got to tape up them gloves, and they got to come back to at least even the score with Ghost Gaming and just put some respect on their name.
All right, well, they've got one Miramar match to have the fastest anime training arc of their lives in order to power up to come back into Ghost for the last game of the day. We'll see what they can do, at least on this one. We'll see if they can rally and get some of that ego back and see if they can take Ghost down a peg. But let's take a look at the map state as a whole. We did have one of these northeastern circles, a pretty common one here once again. We've seen a couple of these over the course of the day. Teams are rotating in a little bit early, but some squads, no big surprise, like Onyx still out there in the blue, playing it slow and steady. And to me, it's interesting because we have two squads that are really exemplifying. We have Onyx and RTG who really play the same strategy. And I feel like Onyx is trying to play it how RTG is. It's really, really interesting because we have two squads with the same goals. One's not working for him, and one is doing it excellently. So we'll continue to contrast these teams and see how it does here on our third map.
And I think it comes down to, at least on Erangel, looking right now, like drop spots, right? RTG, they drop somewhat center on the map. Erangel as a whole, they're a little east of Roshawk, and then Onyx down there, Primorse. Like, if we don't get a military base circle for Onyx, if we don't get the quarry finish for Onyx, they're going to have a big challenge rotating. And we see them ultra wide rotates. The thing is, when they go for the wide rotates, they tend to go all the way up to the north and then hit a quick right-hand turn towards the east side. The thing is, who's always there? Alpha 7. Always around that area. So it's like right off the drop, Onyx, they're already kind of like, they're putting themselves back a peg. You don't want to run into Alpha 7 every single game because your chances, they're going to be low. And I'm not just saying that, to kind of doubt Onyx and their gun skills, but we're talking about Alpha 7 from Brazil, like one of the top, most aggressive squads in the game of PUBG Mobile.
When we look at a team with players of just individual gun skill in the lobby, again, at this level, I mean, you're talking like, this was like Madden scores. It's like a 90 to a 91. But at this level of play, that makes a huge difference. They have some of the best in the game when it comes to just pure gun skill. And Fresh looked to put his on display. Couldn't quite find it, though. Chivas Esports, a bit of a sloppy rotation, getting caught out in every direction. Dave, every single camera we're panning to is in trouble right now. Beast with the UMP. Looking to push this. What a hold from Fran. Gets the first aid off. Nerves of absolute steel, but it does not do enough.
I'm surprised Fran was able to get the heal off right there.
That was nutty.
Yeah, it worked out, though. It worked out towards the end. They were able to take him out. Jacob, remember, we saw that grenade, self-grenade from Jacob. Definitely trying to get some more respect on their name right there. Able to get a kill. Vehicle explosion out there in the distance. And the question for me, what will Destiny do? You already took out two of them. Are you going to commit? Are you going to commit to hunt them down and try to get the squad wipe? If I am Destiny, currently 6th place on the overall, I think you do. I think you hunt them down and you try to get the 2 additional points.
Normally, I would 100% agree with you, except for looking at their position in this circle. Chivas are driving away. They're driving towards the outskirts, towards Severny, where Destiny wants to center up, getting just north of Rozhok, able to take some of those compounds there. They're rotating in. They're still looking for them, though, Dave, so you might not be wrong. They're scouting with Severny angle, look towards Alpha 7, Destiny trying to hold all these different angles. UDR Killers is looking to get involved as well, though. It's so hard to see where these teams are on the map, Dave, because we still have 15 up and in it right now. They're all stacked on top of one another, trying to get a glimpse of where all these squads are. It's tough because we still have 56 players in the lobby, and we're coming on to circle number 3.
Meanwhile, Sandro just looking at the sky, looking to see if that plane will favor them with the good juicy crate right there. And yeah, Destiny, it looks like they are gonna, put a halt to that hunt down. They seem to have lost the scent from the duo coming on out there from Shivas, as now they got bigger fish to fry. Alpha 7 going to be right between Destiny and Onyx and even Godsend. So really depending on where this next zone goes. Is it going to go north or south of that nice Rozhok River? Well, that's going to be the big Thanos snap that John Allen likes to put it here of this game, because that water is like clear cut right down the middle of the zone.
I mean, this circle's thinking like north, south, perfectly balanced, as all things should be. It could go either way right now, and that river will cause a lot of problems for those teams who are stuck on the wrong side. I also want to note, Mafios from Alpha 7 is long looting in George. So I think maybe a med strap potential as well coming in from Alpha 7. We'll be keeping an eye on that. As Onyx was able to rotate in and around, Mafios would have been cognizant of that, would have heard the vehicles. So keeping an eye on this for sure. Alpha 7, a little bit of a different strategy here from them. And I think back to Carrillo and the classic Loops roster, how aggressive that team always played, how it was really the hallmark of Brazil. This has been totally different. And maybe they're not regretting it now, as we do see the hard southern shift. These northern teams, Dave, they've got to rethink this strategy. Things are about to start to get a little bit crazy, and Onyx is experiencing that firsthand.
Yeah, almost immediately we got, 6 teams up here to north that all need to come up with some type of game plan. Onyx, oh wow, okay, 7, yeah, 7. We're going to just have to leave you to the Wolves right there, because they have to reposition, and they have to not only avoid Godsend, avoid Destiny, avoid Alpha 7, but they're going to have teams already waiting in the zone for them. And before we get to them, UDR, Clash, hello, pull up.
And RTG. You can see the third party coming in on the kill feed. That's what that was happening. Trazen priming this grenade. Gets it out. Not going to do a whole lot. Trazen, whose luck I constantly talk about because he's constantly in awful positions. This time, though, putting UDR just there, as we can see them constantly being pressured from that third party as well. The smokes are down, making me cough through the screen, Dave, because UDR, they are in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, UDR, if I'm them right now, like, what do you do? And honestly, I think trying to get into the vehicles and reposition to Sandro is going to be the best bet. Taking this engagement right here, it's yeah, you're already losing one. So Nano, you're just gonna have to try to get on out of here. They already threw the smokes, and they make it. Oh, but look who else is crashing right on top of them. Rod.
Focus is gonna drop. Yeah, I mean this is rough. Oof. I mean, Sandro is just being forced to play double, triple duty right now, protecting his teammates who are rolling on in, trying to deny the squads who are meeting up in apps. I mean, we've seen some crazy apartment finishes, Dave. I mean, wild apartment finishes. With Konina Power joining us as well, this is only going to continue to get spicy as all the teams are rotating in a lot of wide wraps, as teams didn't want to do the pure north-south over the river, which actually means that it's pretty wide open. Rozhok is still fully clear. Not sure how that's possible. And all these teams are stacked up on apartments. I think everyone had the same idea.
Yeah, and looks like Alpha 7, they might be scouting out Rozhok to take that for themselves. Ghost Gaming did take over school, but 3 teams in apartments. Konina Power currently in first place, going to be one of those teams. Okay, the coupe. Okay, those shocks, the traction, pretty good. Now we know it can run over a hay bale and still make it. Team Queso down here in the south on Potato Hill. They got the high ground. They're taking shots at Godsend. They're going to try to gatekeep them and get these kill points as best as possible.
I think for me, I like this for Team Queso. I like them being the ones playing gatekeeper and not the ones executing the crashes. That's where we've seen them struggle, but it's gonna be.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Oh my! That is the hardest. That white line is touching the blue, Dave. That is the hardest shift it could possibly be. And I don't know what RTG did. I don't know what sacrifice they made, but the Circle Gods are with them today. Oh me, oh my. They are in a prime position once again. But so is Onyx, Destiny, Chivas as well, and everybody else, Dave. It's pedal to the metal. It's Mad Max time.
You gotta land those. You gotta land those. M249.
Yeah.
RTG also going to be gifted a crate. We see they're out there on the distance. Sandro with that second chance opportunity. Trying to go full Rambo out here, but with that red dot, just not able to connect onto the target. Okay, UDR though, they're right there on the edge. They don't need to move, so Sandro can have not a second, not a third, maybe even a fourth chance to continue to at least try to get some points. And it's just an all-out mayhem battle right here just to claim a spot in the southern part of this new circle. Like you said, hard shift to the north. Onyx, huge W for them.
I mean, it doesn't get much better for this than the teams who are already up there. Every single team is having a struggle on the road right now. This is like a not-so-friendly game of Mario Kart where everybody's just looking for that blue shell. And you can see Frozen going for it right there. The run over onto Acer and the kill feed. These guys are vicious when it comes to these rotations at this point. Everybody is trying to find that key compound, and getting there just a second sooner is Konina Power. Destiny now, Dave, has to rethink this plan. They were just a little too slow.
Kind of separated too as well. If we're looking at Destiny, they are trying to gatekeep Shivas as they do have that solo still out there trying to get that pickup. But look at the pull-up. Team K, so we talk about them time and time again. When all else fails, just full YOLO send it and try to come out on top and clash. Oh, putting a stop to that. Man, Team Queso and their pull-ups, their crashes. If I'm a Team Queso fan, all right, I have my fingers crossed for them to just get the zone so that they're not forced in that situation.
Because their decision-making just hasn't been paying off for them here. We'll see if it'll be a little bit better for Loca Nostra, trying to capitalize on the chaos that was already sown as Clash continue to hold on to this compound. They've been doing it all day long. The nades are coming in as LCO is just dropping too. The third party coming in as well. Loca Nostra is just in a world of hurt. Absolute panic on their faces right now. And uh-oh, jumping through the window as the third party comes in from Destiny. Wow.
Right there, all you need to do with that DP Pro, get that tripod action going, even stable. Able to get those bullets right through that window. And Savage pretty much lucking out right now with that third party from Destiny, because Clash, they were just, you can see, they were just full-blown trying to make sure to take out Loca Nostra right there in that situation.
If I'm Clash, I get all four up, and then I just rush Savage. You cannot have another player, you know, in your compound right now. Just send everybody at him. Every three players have Terminus set back up there, Overwatch, everybody else needs to rush him, get him out of your compound, take that back over, and then you are in such a stellar position. Or just use nades.
Yeah.
Or just use nades.
And they saw the smokes, right? They saw the smoke. So it's like, okay, where could they be in the smoke? So they toss about 5 grenades.
Yeah.
And just in time.
There.
Just in time. Look, next zone doesn't favor that compound. Clash, though, already sitting on a couple kill points, which is good. They have a couple vehicles from all those enemies crashing them, so they could build their own cover in the next zone, which is huge for them.
Which, again, talk about it. RTG, what did you say? Like, what happened? Oh, no. Oh, no. Check up. Oh, no. Well, that's not ideal. RTG got the circle again, is what I'm saying. They've literally not had to move, like, the entire game. I'm pretty sure this is where they dropped. I'm pretty sure, like, at this point, you know, they've got kids enrolled at school. You know what I mean? Like, they're planting trees. They're going to be, like, reaping the fruit from those trees at this point, Dave, because they've been here forever.
Tasty fruit, too. I mean, it's juicy. It's ripe. It's ready to go. And you know what? They're not sharing it. They're not sharing it with anybody this game. So, although they are center, now they have the challenge of defending, making sure teams don't crash, making sure teams don't sneak up on top of them and take them out. So, they are going to have a challenge in front of them.
They are. I mean, it's the same situation Arad was in that last game, where everybody knows where you are. Everybody knows the team is going to be in that compound. The question is, what can you do with it? Destiny? Okay. That wide swing, shooting out of the vehicle. Absolute chaos in the hill. As Honest continuing to get involved. Konina Power there. Godsent gets eliminated. His master is going to drop. Mihi just a little bit too big. As Gonzo was looking to get involved at distance. That DP Dave. We've seen it do work so far. And UDR Killers are going to get eliminated as well, but Onyx still in this.
All I hear are shots right now from all over the place. You got Ghost in the zone trying to third party. You got Konina Power trying to fourth party. You hear some vehicles. Looks like Destiny going to be rolling on out as Onyx just couldn't handle the heat over there in the woods. Alpha 7, big chillin' still up there towards the north. 4 alive. They're going to have the final say as Spec in the smoke right now, just trying to stay alive. But Konina Power fighting their way in. Tooth and nail right here.
They are indeed. It's Ghost Gaming among all these other squads who sent it in just that little bit earlier. You talked about the wall, you talked about the cover. Dave, it don't need nuts because Konina Power is looking to rip them right out from underneath it. Tensa though, UMP in hand, getting third party. The shots are coming in, and this might be it. Konina Power just too big. Pop on out of the vehicle. The drive up, drive by. Ghost Gaming out again, at least with an 8th place finish, but it's just not where they wanted to be. And now, Konina Power have usurped this position, but I don't know how I feel about this, Dave, because they just saw how weak it was. They just took it from Ghost, and now they just have to take it back themselves. Not maybe ideal. We'll see if they can hold it just that little bit better with those few additional vehicles.
Well, not only that, Tensa was killed from behind from RTG. So Konina Power, their position right now, totally exposed. Fresh going for the long grenades and connecting one of them, applying some damage, getting the double. That's good. Can't Fresh get the third? Can't Fresh get the squad one?
Fresh is looking for it, lobbing it, chucking it, trying to find it. Axer's gonna fall. Fashe on a scrap of HP. Do you have any more, Fresh? Do you have any more? If you do, that's the wipe. But instead, it is not. And Konina Power survives. But Dave, they still gotta move.
That they do. And Fresh, after using all their grenades, pissed. Fresh wants to get these 2 points. Wants to get these 2 points. And needs to get it before Alpha 7 decide to take them from him.
Alpha 7 have just been relaxing this whole time, picking up a kill here, a kill there, 4 to their name, but they've got 4 alive. They're feeling absolutely stellar on the outside, looking in. As we're seeing now the Molly coming in. Where was that about 20 seconds ago, Fresh? Because now you're taking some shots back in return, and now you both got to move. Fresh goes down, couldn't finish the job, but Konina Power says, thank you very much, we'll do it for you.
Yeah, Fresh is like, oh, I had a Molly in the back pocket. Should have used it a little quicker, but hey,
sooner.
regardless, great performance so right there as a solo. So now Alpha 7, like you said, they have been big chilling. They're going to be strolling into the zone. One of their squad mates, they were chunked down in the process. They should be able to get the pickup. RTG, though, that hard cover is still in play, Paul.
It is indeed, but Carry Boy did get knocked. Nextria Gaming coming in, trying to do some work. Marshall looking to shoot right back. Rahada getting involved as well. You can see it in the kill feed. Every single team on this left side, the west side of this circle, going in big. Kudur and crew trying to find it. RTG potentially in trouble. They're split across a couple of different buildings here, Dave. They need to be able to continue to give each other that support, and it looks like they're able to do it. They're taking fights in every direction. This is incredible to watch. The team synergy here, super impressive.
Just mayhem. We see people burning. We hear the M249 shots getting rung out in the distance. RTG, we talked about this a couple moments ago. That compound's so strong, but a lot of eyes are going to be looking in their direction. Currently trying to defend it against 2 different teams.
NK needs to try and get Marshall up. Rod, 2 players down on the outside, but they can't overextend themselves to try and confirm the kills. But it's still 100% the right play because there are still so many threats here in the server. Clash, all 4 up. Alpha 7, all 4 up. Nextria Gaming, all 4 up. And the thing is now, Dave, how much damage will they do to each other? That's what RTG is thinking. They're just trying to sustain their way through this and let all these other squads fight it out.
You know what? Next zone goes up. I believe that broken wall right in front of RTG might still be in play. It's going to be huge, but the thing is, they need to take out the team right next to them that we're looking at. So there's 8 players on this side of the map, and they are right next to each other.
I mean, how often does this happen that we have so many squads with four players alive? Almost never. We have 4 squads with 4 up out of 5. Absolutely massive. As we're seeing Carry Boy, though. Wow, these long-range DP shots. Incredible. Mafios was just able to continue to do the work. Dave, I am so impressed. And just like that, Alpha 7, I mean, wow. And the bolt action is what.
The 8-time scope, too. I mean, talk about zooming in, trying to look for that head right there. But look at this. Konina Power, though, taking advantage of the situation, pushing up with their grenades. Konina Power, they are putting in the work right over here.
Nextria Gaming is helping them out, inadvertently offering them more options to move in. Clash is here as well. Senatexa in desperation mode as the blue is pushing them in, flailing, trying to find anything before they go down. Benihat has them pinned. Alpha 7, I think, took a little bit too long. They strolled their way in a little more leisurely, Dave. I don't think they thought they could send, probably very correctly. Don't think they thought they could send, but they had enough tree cover. I think they maybe could have pushed a little bit further before they set up their camp, and now they're paying for it.
The thing is, Nexria and RTG, they looked at each other and said, hey, why are we fighting? Let's just take out everybody else first, and then we'll get back to you. That's the problem. You got 8 players shooting you pretty much in this situation, and they're just getting picked apart left and right as Clash, they find out firsthand.
I mean, RTG, Dave, I know they've gotten every piece of circle luck you could humanly get, but boy, have they capitalized on it. 12 kills! And what's so cool about this is it's completely contrary to their normal strategy, their late game roll-up. They've shown that they can do it all. This Road to Glory squad, they're not one I was super familiar with coming into it, but my goodness, are they getting me hyped, Dave? I mean, and the fact they have the confidence, Carry Boy, at this point, to do roof play this late in the game, that means you have full trust in your team to scout for you that you're not going to get shot in the butt. The communication from this squad is unparalleled.
3 times MVP. Frozen still alive though. If I am the solo from Konita Power, I want to survive. Because remember, their first place coming into this game. They want to hold on to it. I don't think it's going to be an option though. You still have 8 players shooting your tree. Oh, just unlucky. Talk about being pinned against the wall. But oh, Carry Boy spotted on that roof. That's huge.
That was big. That was the pickup they absolutely needed to get. Fasha is going to get one back, though, on the outside. Continuing to just farm for those hit markers, spraying and praying through the smoke. RTG's taking a lot of damage, though, as Carry Boy tried to get revived, pushed on in and got confirmed. This is huge here for Nexria Gaming, who I also have to give props, have been able to do a very similar style of play here. But Fasha is going to drop. And drop, but not drop.
And the thing is, Fashe, talk about a backstab potential right there. Huge. El Chapo, though, needs to watch out. M249 right in your face. My goodness, this is crazy. Yeah, okay, finally taken out. Senke, 8 kills onto Senke right here. 3v2.
And with the last dying breath for Konina Power, the 16-point finish for them, able to get a key knock onto Frozen, making this a 2v2. Assuming the revive doesn't come through, which it looks like it will. RTG needed to reset themselves, get the meds off, but I don't know how I feel about that smoke, Dave, because it's going to give away, as if Nexria didn't know where they were. It's going to absolutely confirm that, and that Molly doing work. Marshall just clips the edge of it. That's so you don't, Marshall.
Popping off the heel, but I don't know how they're going to defend themselves. M249, Frozen with the DP. You're going to have so many bulls getting sprayed in your direction. It's up to Marshall to get a huge knock right here once when they pop that broken wall.
I'm not even sure it's going to matter, though. So many kills they've already secured for themselves. They're still going to walk away with the most in this first or 7 regardless, but the chicken dinner sure does feel good. SNK is going to drop. That's going to be it. Pops over the wall. No choice. That's going to be the end. The GG. Nexria Gaming takes the chicken dinner, but both these teams with big wins, tying 25 points apiece. Oh my goodness, Dave. These squads came to play.
NK alone, RTG, 8 kills. Talk about just being on fire that game. What a game. And we're starting to see a completely different meta here. And it's because the M249, it spawns in the world now. It's on the ground. And we see it every single game. Like, at least every single squad, late game, has one in their arsenal. And it just plays such a big role. Let's play the highlights, though. Pretty intense game. I forgot, that game was so intense, I actually forgot about the Pachinki fight. That, hey, GG's, Ghost coming out on top this one.
I mean, there's a lot of games where I feel like we don't get a lot of action early. You know, we're talking about the broader storylines, the players, the teams, the morale, the map state, etc. This one was just like play-by-play. The whole way through, teams were fighting non-stop. The second you think you get a moment to catch your breath, a team is like, nah, I got a trigger to press. I got a team to squad wipe off the face of the map. And that's what we were seeing here. Props to Onyx, though. Again, from that day one performance to now, huge shift from them. Konina Power, as well, able to survive with 2 players over and over and over. Dave, do I sound like a broken record? It's because
I don't know.
They keep doing it.
And that's what they're good at. You know, when all else fails, if they're down and out, they got 1, they got 2 up, they go into survival mode. And that's exactly what they need to do. And that's what they have been doing, considering their placements on the overall leaderboards. They're at the top. But you talked about last game, RTG. They're always sneaking into late game, right? Sneaking into late game, showing up. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm starting to feel like they're sneaking on to the leaderboard towards the top right now, too. Like RTG. Oh, man, they know these zones. They know the algorithm. They got it down packed, dude.
Well, it's they constantly put themselves, I mean, on that one in particular, where that drop spot works, the way that big circle was, it was going to be 50-50 over on the river or not. They were right on the edge of that river. No matter which way that circle went, they would have been prepared to adapt, to respond to it. In the end, they had to do nothing. They just had to sit there and collect the kills that came their way, and they did it in style. That's game number 3 in the books. 2 more for you fine folks today. So we're going to head to a short break. When we come back, our analysts are going to break that one down.
COVID-19 vaccines are already helping millions of us get back to normality. But for many more, they are still out of reach. The vast majority of vaccines are going to wealthier countries, leaving the world's most vulnerable people behind. The COVAX initiative is working to right this wrong and ensure access to vaccines worldwide. This is not only the right thing to do, it is one of our best routes out of this global pandemic. As new variants continue to evolve, we know that as long as the virus is circulating somewhere, nowhere is safe. Gavi, through COVAX, is helping to provide vaccines at no cost to 92 lower-income countries. It has already delivered over 80 million vaccines worldwide. With your help, we can protect millions more people, ensure no one is left behind, and help bring an end to this pandemic.
We've got the OnePlus 9 Pro, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, this display is just out of this world.
Insane. It's got 65 watts of charging power.
The 9 series is next level.
PUBG Mobile World Invitational is powered by Gamers Without Borders and is brought to you by OnePlus, the official smartphone provider, Nemo TV, the official streaming platform, and STC, the official playout sponsor. Well, we've had another match finish off, and we're having some consistency shine here through a couple different teams. Frost almost had a curse. I guess it was technically a little bit of a curse coming through for Alpha 7 as we were watching in our virtual green room, but it's still a crazy match indeed, and we talked about before, it seems to be so close between all the teams here in the West Conference, whereas in East, there's definitely a couple teams far ahead beyond everyone else, but I'm loving how quickly these rankings change. I'm loving that we're seeing new teams come to light, but I also am loving how we're starting to see the good teams really start to cement themselves as being the best here in this conference. Frost and Seven still joining me here to analyze everything about this match. And these zones, man, these shifts, they were rough. That Rozhok shift going south was very hard for all those teams to deal with.
Yeah, and the main one, I think you wanted to touch base on this one, Frost. It's the Alpha 7. I thought you were going to go to it right away. The Alpha 7 rotation. Tell them about it.
Oh, you want me to tell them about it? All right. So we had the first, of course, the second circle that was a 50-50 with the river, basically cutting off half of the circle. And then we saw, when it went to south, we saw that Alpha 7 was trying to play from the riverside, which is exactly what I wanted to see them to do. Playing from the riverside, they would have also the high ground and being able to cut off because they knew that no one was north of them. So they had control over the whole area. And that's exactly what they did. It worked out until towards the end there when they had to push it in towards the compound. It was a little bit rougher. But overall, great game. Not only from Alpha 7, but look at Next Rear Gaming taking home the chicken dinner and 10 kills. But road to glory, though. I mean, you gotta give them some props. We normally talk about how they rotate in, they get the impact kills and so on, but this time, they were the center. They were holding down that compound against UDR. And then we saw, of course, next rear, we saw Rad, both of them trying to sandwich them, but they held out strong and got himself not only the second place, but also 13 kills. You love to see that. Kunina Power, of course, once again, being able to clutch it out, making sure that they get a few points on the board. Well, more than a few points, actually. 16 points, that's really good. Clash, we see them how they were able to manage to get himself 15 points, great from them as well. And Rad, again, we see them time after time being towards up the top here, and I mean they are cementing themselves up towards the leaderboard as well right now.
Yeah, Rad's making me happy today. I mean, we've seen some good performances out of them the whole day, and they just keep on improving on what we've seen from yesterday. Another one that I kind of want to mention here on this first page is going to be Ghost Gaming. I mean, that first battle that they had with guns was huge, and the main player again that I want to touch base on is HH24. For him to be able to start putting out damage, start getting kills too, even though they ended up losing him in that battle, it's huge for that team, and it's huge especially since we still have one more Airgale to go and 3 more tomorrow. I wonder if Guns is just gonna keep on trying to go for them. We do have here on the second page Team Onyx 3 points. Godsend at least being able to secure some points there for themselves, as we saw them being dead last with 2 points. Down a little bit more, and a surprise here for me, especially in Erangel, is going to be 19 Esports and Chivas Esports only being able to get 1 point apiece. And if we go down more, quite a disappointment here for me is going to be Team Queso with 0 points.
Yeah, you gotta give some props to UDR killers. Only getting 1 point, no kills, but they tried to take that compound. What we saw that RTG was holding down, and basically they knew that if we can take this is gonna mean that we're gonna get a lot of kills. But basically, it didn't work out this time. Maybe it will next time. We'll just have to see.
Well, there will be a next time when we get to our 5th match of the day. When we get back to Erangel, of course, you still have 3 more coming up tomorrow. But there's 2 players off the top 2 teams that last match we want to dive a little bit deeper into. One from Nextria Gaming and one from RTG. And we got to look at the stats between Senku and Nihat as well. And we're going to see it's pretty dominated here by the red side. Couldn't tell you which one that is. Personally, I can't know which one's what color. But the red team definitely doing better.
I'll tell you. Don't worry. For the viewers at home,
Senku
is going to be the one with the one on the left. All right, as you can see right there, and it's also going to be the red too. 1,300 damage, and then we have Nihat 800 damage. But what I also want to show from them is Senku's at least being able to also put out some assists, and even besides this, I want to go a little bit more in depth because these 2 players have been just star players for their deserved teams. Senku by himself, he has 3,800 damage and 20 kills. And not only that, if you think that's good, wait until I tell you Nihat's stats. He has also 3,800 damage, but instead of 20 kills, he has 23 kills. So these 2 players are being huge for them. And something that I also wanted to touch base in regards to RTG is, you said it, Frost. They held that compound so well. At one point, we were saying, ooh, that might not be the best spot because so many people are going to be crashing onto them. But for them to have the communication that they had and for them to be able to hold that off, and something that I also that I love that Inveram was able to say too, is the confidence that they had after holding off that compound. They even decided to go up on the roof and see if they can maybe secure some more points via kills.
Yeah, it didn't really work out, did it, though? But at least they went for it. Yeah, they went for it. And that's the confidence you want to have going into a game like that, going into an end game like that, knowing that you have the confidence, because that means that you're going to take those shots. And it comes down to you taking those earlier fights and winning every single one of them. That's the only way you get the confidence to actually go up there and play that roof.
Well, what about Nextria Gaming and their stats for their players? I mean, they were able to pull up. The thing is, for me, seeing Nextria kind of struggle here in this West Conference is kind of surprising, but I guess at the same time, not so surprising considering they were, well, number one when it came to the league stage, PMPL Turkey, and then when they finished things off at the very end of the NBA Championships, they were 13th place. But Frozen, I've always heard so much about him as being this like star player. He's the MVP in the league stage, but it's Yekta that's actually the one that's been able to stand out so far for him.
I'd say Nihad with those 23 kills, but Yekta as well, of course, putting up a lot of damage. But sometimes you're going to have those dips. You're not going to perform to the level that you want to. And that's what we're seeing from Frozen right now. This is kind of redemption from Nextria, though. Coming in from the EMEA Championship, as you mentioned, them getting that 13th place, that's not where you want to see them. They know that they're better than that, and that's exactly what they're showing us right now. Look how even it is, though. If you look at the damage, the kills, it kind of tells the story. Even when Frozen is not putting up those numbers, everybody else is going to take their part of the cake and just put it out there and making sure, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. We'll cover you. We'll make sure that we're going to be towards the top because that's where we belong.
Speaking of the top, why don't we take a look at our overall settings as we pass the halfway point of our third day, and we'll see how far Nextria Gaming has been able to move up the leaderboards, and they've actually have fallen down. They were number one at the start of the day, and they've actually are currently sitting at number 3, but RTG, 6 placings. That is not shabby at all.
It's not. I mean, this is one team that I'll say it again. I thought after the first chicken dinner that they had in day one and after the drop-off that we saw from that team, I thought it might have been a one-off. Well, guess what? They said 7. Said, stop talking that smack because it's not true. We're able to back it up, and right now they're being able to not even be tied. They actually have that first place, which is huge. They do still have Kanina power. We see them being consistent. They haven't gotten any chicken dinners today, but the consistency out of that team is keeping them within the top 2. And Nextria, even though they did drop some spot, they were still able to put up a good performance there. And as we were able to see with the player stats, everybody's starting to pop off. If we can get Frozen to pop off too, this will be a team that we can definitely be on the lookout for. Alpha 7 dropping up one spot there. Listen, it's been a hit and miss for Alpha 7. We really thought that we were going to have an even better match there in that last Aaron Gill. I cannot wait to see what they're going to be doing here going into Miramar. 19 Esports being able to maintain themselves there with 109 points. And something that I kind of want you guys to keep in mind here that we haven't seen before in the previous days is now first place and second place and even third place are starting to get more of a lead from 7th and 8th place, Ross.
Yo, yeah, that is true, but you gotta look at the 8th place though. Rad actually putting themselves up there on a top 8 right now. That is great to see. We saw them in day 1. They basically just bombed it out and it didn't look like the Rad that we wanted to see. They only had 17 points, but being able to push themselves up there. The team, Rad from Egypt, you love to see that. And they're not done yet. They're here. They want to grab more points. They want to rise more up on that leaderboard. And of course, down here, Team Onyx, we can see towards the bottom. They're not in the bottom anymore. Only 10 points behind Team Queso, a team that you would think would be on the first page. But right now, they're sitting down towards the bottom. And Onyx is doing a great job so far today. I'd like to see that they're just putting himself up there.
Remind you guys at home as we have the viewer milestone and of course the cheers. We do have some cards you can pick up within the game. It's not out just yet, but make sure to keep your guys' eyes tuned towards when they release because you're going to want to grab every single one of them as you possibly can. It's time for us 3 on the desk to go grab a quick little break to bring our commentators back in for match 4, which is kicking off on Miramar right here, right now.
Oh, thanks so much, Jason. As we're getting into game number 4, can you believe it, Dave? The day is almost done. So much action. It's flown right by. And we'll see what kind of Miramar we're in store for today. Will it be one of the slower ones, more methodical, more meticulous? Or will the desert heat up and we'll have action from start to finish? We've seen both, Dave. We've seen both.
Well, earlier on Miramar, in the east side of things, when we're looking at PUBG Mobile World Invitational, end zone, final circle, 2 buildings, opposite ends of each other, and a road right between them. That was it. That was the final ending. We had a squad in one building and another team in the opposite building, and they needed to fight it out on that road right between them. So it was pretty exciting to witness that firsthand. But this one, let's get into it. We've been having some spicy circles yesterday. We've been having some fun ones here today. This Miramar, we only got today Miramar, tomorrow Miramar. If you had to be like the RTG guy and be like, place that circle. Where are you going to place that circle here? This game, Paul, where would you want to see it?
I'm going with dead center. I think we're going to have a dead center circle.
No, final zone. Final zone.
Final zone.
Yeah. Where would you want it? Like, you're like the coach for RTG, and you're like, okay, it's going to end here. Because that's obviously what they do.
I think a Los Leones finish actually wouldn't be too awful for them. Because of where they drop, they'd be in a pretty good spot. Okay. So yeah, that's still potential there. Because they do well in these city fights. They traditionally do well in these close range urban combat finishes. RTG has done a fantastic job of being able, again, I always call them the team, they find order from chaos, and what's more chaotic than a city finish?
If I'm RTG's coach and I'm making my prediction, I'm going to say those 2 islands out there on the east, because why not? Why?
We've seen it before. Don't 19E it and take forever out there and then come in way too late and get 0 damage. Just don't do that.
I'll go on a sightseeing mission. Yeah, okay. I appreciate it. Not now.
Plant the umbrella down, maybe get a tiki drink, smaller umbrella, chilling.
Ooh, this is risky.
Gooder.
I don't know if that vehicle is worth that much. And yeah, they're going to be paying the price.
Not ideal. Oh, and Next Gen Gaming did so well last game. That to me is just like the definition of a battle royale. One game, you're flying high, got all your players alive, getting a chicken dinner, rocking 25 points. The next one, it's like, yes, hello, we are 3. We are 3 players.
Well, that's Miramar. A lot of these teams early game, they kind of prioritize picking up these vehicles, and it's for a good cause because the map is so huge. Yeah, it's so big that there's a lot of terrain to traverse, and obviously the more cars you have, the less chance of your squad getting taken out on rotation in a car. And we saw it yesterday. Yesterday, I believe I remember making a comment. It was like mid-game. We had a hard shift, and there was like 10 teams. Each of the members on those 10 teams, they all had vehicles. They all started making that move, and it was just like a wave, an ocean of just cars moving. So, I definitely respect it, and I understand it. And some teams in particular that are going to need to make sure to get those vehicles, guns out there to the west. You got Cognitive Power out there to the west, and even Team Queso. So a lot of teams playing this early game west side, they're going to have a challenge, right? Making it into this circle number 1. Considering the whole east side of the zone, there's still nobody occupying it. Like, nobody. Except for RTG, of course.
Of course. RTG opted instead. They're going to go on the coast. They're still going to play on the outside. They know where the other teams are dropping. They know where that plane path was. Puerto Paradiso is wide open right now. That's where they're going to go down. They're going to play this on the outside, still very much in their style, but not so much that they're going to be face tanking the blue for 7 minutes. So I like this call from them. If the circle does rotate up towards Impala, this mountainous terrain south of Impala is some of my favorite to watch because it's so dynamic. Players have so many opportunities to hide, to dip, dodge, and dive in and around this cover, and it makes for some really exciting gameplay. So if we do get a southern shift to the circle, anywhere along this mountain range, we're going to be in for some great games, Dave. So no matter what, I'm already happy.
Yeah, and the chances are definitely pretty high as we get a nice little aerial view in the helicopter RTG out here on the coast, looking for some of this nice, sweet loot for free, considering nobody's even near them for the time being. Onyx, already on the move here, just a little bit, all popping in their vehicles, looking to reposition possibly into a more centralized spot, as I do see Destiny Beast already pretty dead center right here, claiming a spot for their squad. I'm looking around, trying to find some spiciness. Yes, 19E, early rotate as well. They might run into Destiny, might receive some shots from Destiny. Gotta watch out for them tires, make sure those bad boys don't get popped. But besides that, might be just a good old-fashioned early Miramar game.
Yeah, and again, I wondered what kind of match we were going to have. Oh, all right. Little seeing the driving skills here on full display. Like you're saying, Dave, got to keep those tires well and intact. Parking is very important to make sure that you can escape at a moment's notice. 19E, nice and dead center here as well. Minas Generales, keeping an eye on that. The squads are taking their time. That's the pro and con of Miramar here. It is our biggest map, bar none, by a large margin, which means teams have a long time to loot in this early game, feeling very comfortable. gives them a little more options when it comes to deciding when they want to take these fights, which is quite nice because there's more ground to work with. A chance of you just running into a team smaller, not zero, but certainly smaller.
Yeah, the percentage is definitely low. And El Pozo percentage 50-50. You know, we saw 2 squads there looting on another kind of high percentage chance of an early fight, I guess you could say. Team Queso opted to pop into some vehicles and looking to use that main road down there towards the south. But as we listed, Konita Power are going to be down there. Rod's going to be down there. So Team Queso, they're really going to need to thread that needle and make sure not to get spotted on their rotate, especially with the blue zone now starting to close in, collapse in, taking a fight out there this early. And just as I say, look at the kill feed.
Yep, there it is. Konita Power, Team Queso. Oh boy, these teams have some history. Be excited to see what these teams can do up against one another. Team Queso, though, not really crashing at this point. They're more on the defensive right now, which could work out well for them, except for the team shooting of Konita Power is a little bit better. The double peak, Dave, cannot be denied. Absolutely huge. There's no way you lose that. Enough damage has been done, though, that Rima trying to take this as a series of 1v1s, confirming the point before they go down. Beautiful play as we're playing Ring Around the Rosie here. Which one can get the shot? That's the question. Dave, it all comes down to this. The final last stand, and no. Konita Power loses one, but gets it back.
Yeah, 3 members of Konita Power all just, crossfire in that doorway. I don't think you're going to make it on out alive, but you can kind of see the mentality shift from Team Queso. They get into these fights, but instead of, trying to make sure to take all the enemies, get that squad wipe, if they get knocked, they're going to make sure to get that flush, get that point underneath their belt, because 14th position overall. They got 1 point. Now, they tried to go up the hill with the good old-fashioned coupe, and that bad boy doesn't have enough horsepower for that.
No, it does not. I think they were expecting to gun out of there Fast and the Furious. Instead, it was slow and dead.
Slow and furious.
Yeah. Well,
slow and dangerous.
Yeah,
it was furious. It was furious if you're in the car getting shot at, all right? That's like, it's like, are you pressing the gas? Yeah, I'm pressing the gas. The gas is pressed. It's pressed. It's pressed. Yeah.
Power's team shooting, though, is really good. Like, both in the early parts of that fight as well, like, you can tell their comms are super, super clean, because that kind of communication stems from having very clear, concise lines of communication, and just really, really solid. But as I say that, this has taken them a long time. Luckily, it's only the first circle, so not a big deal here. They're going to have time to continue to loot up, make their way in. They'll take some damage, but not the end of the world, as we are seeing the center up on Impala, Dave. Oh boy, and this mountainous finish that I hoped for. Every time I see Miramar, it could happen.
Two Islands still in play, by the way. Just throwing it out there. Technically, I'm not wrong yet. Konita Power, though, they average 11.2 points per game. They have a total of 64 kills. They're going to be right behind X Rio with 66 kills. So very aggressive squad here in this lobby. Looking at Alpha 7, 61 kills. So their 3rd most kills in the entirety of the lobby. As we see them making the pull up onto Loca Nostra. Currently 13th place on the overall leaderboard. You have to assume they heard this vehicle pull up. And of course, Daddy over here. Gonna play that off angle. Looks like they're going to have some room to work with. They need to make sure Danny doesn't get pushed for free. Yep, Daddy is going to be spawning that one out. They see that there's someone over here.
Ooh, Carrillo, those flick shots, trading back and forth, though. Nice reaction time from both squads. Danny will take this off angle, popping out together. Oh, the last player from Alpha 7. A lot of missed shots from Danny, though. Can't be missing that at this stage in the game. Texa given a gift of a life here. Gonna look to put it right back around. And Danny pays for it. Mafios comes in. Constant trades back and forth. Which team will come out on top? Texa. Those missed shots from Danny, Dave, could literally be the end of this entire team.
And I know a lot of people, they was like, oh, you got the high ground. High ground always wins. Well, in this case, we saw a prime example. Like, right when they peeked over, M249, of course. Loca Nostra, when they're trying to crest over the hill, what's going to show first? Their heads, right? Their heads show first. So it's like an instant headshot right there from Alpha 7 looking uphill over there. And, well, Loca Nostra, I guess, tried to do this. If I was them, I would just pop in a vehicle and just go for placement points. And, yeah, that's what they're doing.
They were able to destroy That truck, at least. Yeah. So that was a little something. That's what that spray was there at the end.
Take that.
It's 9. Oh my goodness. Yikes. Those shots. Back absolutely clean coming in from Ghost. Seeing Onyx pinched between a couple of different squads here. Chivas, Destiny, all looking to get involved. Team Case of the first team eliminated. And look at Nostra, that UK squad, they just haven't had a lot of luck some of these games, Dave. And how much of it's luck and how much of it's their decision making? Not 100% sure. They could have, I think, taken that fight against Alpha 7, but you know, you're expecting, if it's a 1-to-1 and you're expecting everyone to win the fights they're supposed to win, when a player on the other team just pops off and you don't, that swing was destructive. I mean, I don't think Alpha 7 lost a single player.
No, they're still looking pretty good. Looking mighty fine. As we're looking at the player rankings over here. Nomi. We were told coming into this event, super strong player. One of those star highlight players. Definitely keep your eye on. Up there at the top, but not from the kills, but from the damage. Look at that, almost 5K damage coming out from Nomi.
And think about the math on that. We haven't even played 15 games. I'm putting up almost 500 damage. Do that math. And then come back scratching your head going, how does he do it? Absolutely terrifying. As the circle continues to center up here, most teams predicted this. We knew it would go away from the water at this stage. It's going to need a power, and Guns are getting involved. Guns able to trade back. Rofe, nice shots there. Not to Fashe, but they're out in the blue, Dave. This is the kind of fight that teams, they hate to take, but they have to. It's that game of chicken. Who wants to go first? No one wants to get shot in the back, but at the same time, the blue is just constantly taking away your meds, your stims. It all goes downhill, and once again, Konina Power is a duo. I can't say I'm surprised.
Oh, that's like, it's in Los Leones, like the biggest city here in the game. It's just unlucky that they happen to pass each other in that city on their approach into that next zone, because we did see that next circle shift. A lot of teams were already centered up from the previous circle over there in Impala, those hills that you were kind of looking at. So 15 teams right now. That's still a lot of teams alive. 13 minutes into this game. Chivas still 4 up. They got this little compound for the time being. A little split going on. A little 2-2 split. What do they do with their current position? As everybody else is just trying to find somewhere that's safe and sound for the time being. A lot of hills, a lot of different levels of terrain here on Miramar. So we're starting to kind of see that come into play.
Elevation will constantly be a factor. Again, TPP, it offers you a lot, but then, of course, as you said, when you do pop your head up, that's what's exposed. Squad from Mexico, and that squad from Egypt, that 3 years together for that kind of communication will be super useful here as they're going in. But Chivas not taking the shots, Dave. I wonder if this is a bit of a bait.
Got Jacup in the dump truck right there. Talk about cover. They're letting Rahad kind of push up here.
There we go.
False sense of security. There goes the first shot. Yeah, there goes the first knock from Fran.
I like that play from Chivas. They let them get just that little bit closer, luring them in, that false sense of security. And then that trap just shuts. Just like this, Rod now has to rethink this reposition, go for the revive, but Chivas is pushing in at the same time. I love this play from them. They're dead center on the circle right now, Dave. They know they don't have a ton of time to take this, so if they're going to, they need to do it well. They're 2-2 split from Chivas. They need to make the call. At this point, they've taken too long. They know the revive has probably gotten off, so they're going to chill just a moment.
Yeah, they were going to push out. Like, that was their moment to just full-blown commit. Well, they did pull back just a little bit, and
Isha drops. Okay, now they've got to go. They've got to go. They've got this down again. Both players are down. On the outside, I believe Desha dropped. I don't know if they got the revive onto Delhop. I don't know if they did. Fran, that off angle, has been able to do so much work. But as you can see in the circle, Dave, they are like dead center right now. There are going to be squads coming into third party this if they're not careful. There's a very good chance they're still in this next circle. And they're not, which means they've really got to move.
Got 19E all the way up there by themselves. Konina Power, Guns, once again, clashing it out there. Just can't catch a break this game. See Freak, we see Hamoudi trying to toss out some grenades, trying to open this one up. It is going to be a 3v2. Lord, Molly in the doorway. You got 4 members of Guns hot on the case. Yeah, I don't know where you're running. They're going to catch up here very shortly.
They are indeed. Gonzo's just trying to create a situation where he can take a series of 1v1s and not a 1v3 as they are completely splitting right now. The thought process here with this running is that somebody's going to live. somebody's going to survive. And as you can see, the third party we were talking about, now it's coming in on Dorad, who did decide they wanted to relocate as 2, running into Alpha 7. Destiny now fighting Chivas. The game is not slowing down, Dave. It's pedal to the metal. We've made it to the late game with 14 teams and 50 players still left alive. Free Fire's around the corner as Clash is feeling the wrath of Brazil, who are pushing in like a hurricane into this building, Dave. They will not stop.
Yeah, we're heading towards Impala. Send a text to UMP in hand. They're looking like they're moving together as a unit. They got each other's backs, multiple angles. One gets knocked down, not a problem. You got three members, right? 3 enemies pretty much knocking at your doorstep. With UMPs, Alpha 7, there's no stopping them. And now they get a nice position. They have different elevations on those 3 stories, maybe even 4 stories of this compound, and we see it. It's paying off. They're taking shots on the Shivas, who thought they were safe in those water towers.
Chivas chasing down the fight they started earlier, running into all of Alpha 7. Not optimal for them, but Destiny looking to get involved here. We've seen them on the kill feed, but no actual kill points, which is unfortunate for them. They haven't actually been able to convert this. Ra'ad able to stabilize, getting Munir up. Munir, of course, that star player from our Sandhawk map, that absolute clutch play. We'll check back in with them as Destiny out of the frying pan into the fire. 2 members down for them, running into Onyx, who have been able to stabilize here, Dave. Beautiful play from them. What a turnaround from that Dane number 1, but they need to be able to convert as they lose 1. Swave is still up and in this. Asafera, what can they do? They can win.
Got him. Defending what I like to call the hot dog building, because it's in the shape of a hot dog, of course. And popping on over to another building, 19E. They are going to be pushing out. They had the North all to themselves just a couple moments ago. Other teams looking to play it safe up here. Looks like Acer was tagged and bagged. Sam trying to cook these grenades, trying to get a knock over here from on their boulder. First one doesn't really connect. Second one, second one definitely doesn't connect because Frozen got the return nade onto Sam.
That's like playing with portals. He throws that nade out and it felt like it came right on back. Accidental boomerang, but instead it was just Frozen, perfectly primed, perfectly cooked, delivered with care. But we're seeing GFan and Xenox, though, trying to support from cover, but they're very split. This new duo, veteran, young gun, young star, together as a team, but they're the last one standing. They've got the work cut out for them. At least they have the circle, but Dave, for how long?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's somewhat of a standoff up there as no one's near them. Did you see that just a second ago, Pocos? Oh! Second attempt right there. Second attempt. Tried getting the run over a couple moments ago. Missed it. Was able to connect on to what? Imagine right now being Konina Power and you got some dude just driving donuts around. You're like, what are you going to do? And we're seeing what they're going to do. Gonzo hitting the dirt right there. Trying to get the return fire. Was able to do so. Polka's going for those risky, aggressive plays. Might pay the price of their life right there.
I mean, I appreciate the style, but Konina Power is not to be trifled with. Gonzo just putting him away, playing that out so well. He's like, are you disrespecting me right now? And Pocus is like, maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe. Because I understand it. He got that 1v3 pull-up yesterday. I could feel the confidence oozing through the screen, but maybe this time, Dave, maybe this time, it would have been better to play it just a little bit safe, because now UDR Killers has to rethink, reset with only 3 players up, and soon it may just be 1 or none.
Yeah, look at this, just casually rolling in against this Ghost versus Guns fight on the tail end of this one. Alpha 7, remember, they're in that building. They're going to be taking some shots, and across the way, Onyx able to get the final blow. We had like 2 teams right there. They're both gone. They both just got wiped out.
Guns, UDR Killers rolled up on one another. Both were exposed on the side of a hill, and everybody just opened fire, pressing that go button. As we're seeing Alpha 7, the work they did earlier to take over this compound has paid off so well. Chivas are stuck out there, and they've got nowhere to go as time is ticking away. Onyx looking to be a little bit of a distraction as the firing line comes in, able to make it. Chivas given an opportunity there to try and make something happen, Dave, but Alpha 7 is unpunished.
Yeah, this position right here, this is like gatekeep heaven for Alpha 7. They're looking at these 2 teams down here towards the south. They do have this little lip to work with on the road, but it doesn't even matter. Jacob in the tail end, M4 trying to close the gap, trying to provide that support to their squad mates, but they have a very limited amount of room to work with without overextended. Look at that. Yeah, Alpha 7 on the top. Master's popping off with the M2.
What?
They got it. Onyx coming out. Onyx.
Did Master just 1v4? I don't know how much cover his teammate was giving him there, but it literally looked like Master just, 2 and 1 and 1, but just killed all 4 of them. I'm going to need to see a replay on that. Oh my goodness. Yes, it was. Look at that in the kill feed, Dave. That was Master getting all of them done by himself. Yes, Onyx goes down, but my goodness, did they get some points before they did. Chivas feeling that desperation, running in like lemmings, but it was more like lambs to the slaughter. Wow, what a big play there from Onyx.
Master 4 kills, 9, 3 kills that game. Onyx are just racking up those kill points here today. And of course, late game, RTG, 5 kills, 4 up.
I can't expect anything less at this point. I was going to say something witty and profound, but yeah. At this point, it can't be an accident. We were talking to Seven during the break. He's like, oh man, I feel like they're getting lucky. I'm like, nah, it's happening way too much for them to be getting lucky. Whatever they're doing right now, whatever thought process they have going to the circles, if you're a team looking to get better at PUBG Mobile, compete on this kind of world stage, watch RTG's rotations. Because yes, they're hitting their shots, but they're putting themselves in positions to do that work, as Frozen is unfortunately experiencing.
Experiencing the mini from El Chapo out here. Oh, just barely. Yeah,
get Curio.
Okay. Well,
okay.
That happened.
Wait, GFan and Xenox, they lived. Huh.
It's going to be tough, though, for them to reposition, especially with all these eyes looking in this direction.
GFan's gone down. It's all down to Xenox, that young gun. The young blood, Nextria Gaming, Niap, the last one up and alive, but all eyes on me. And that's going to be the blue, taking them down. 19E is out. Nextria Gaming, probably not long to follow. Alpha 7, they took over this compound, Dave. They fought Clash for it. They exterminated them from the building. And just like that, it's been paying off so well for them here. Absolutely insane, but they're still going to have to deal with RTG, who've got all 4 up as well.
Exactly. Those sight lines from Alpha, we saw it come into effect a couple moments ago when they were gatekeeping those teams down there towards the south. Now we're seeing it on the open terrain across that northwest. They got 9 kills right now. They got 9 kills, and they're not done yet.
Great.
Godsent on the opposite end of that lip. They need to be cautious not to peek over. Their position already compromised. We see those mollies getting tossed out there. It's really going to come down to, will this next circle still favor the Alpha 7 compound? If it does, it's going to be a GG for Alpha. That compound's so strong right now.
Yeah, nothing you can do about that. Also, you see that troll care package, that crate on top of the RV? That's just mean. That's just mean. And I also feel like this next circle, this one's going to be... This is going to be the game decider. Who does it favor? Does RTG get it again? Or does it go to Alpha 7, Dave? This is the decider right here, right now. Where are we going to go?
Let's see. It pops. Okay. This is big for Godsent because that road, it has a dip that they could just play that one. But yeah, Marshall already repositioning. Godsent needs to take out Marshall now.
He's all by his lonesome right here. He's setting up the foundation, the groundwork for rotation for the rest of RTG. We'll see how many smokes they have. That's going to be the big decider for me as Marshall takes a ton of work, but does more in return as Nuggets drops, getting blown to bits himself as Train not finding the angle here. Great repositioning from Marshall to be able to dodge those back. Can he find another one, though, as Alpha 7 is trying to do the exact same thing, lay down the smoke tunnel to try and move the rest of the team in. RTG need to take advantage of the chaos that's being created by Marshall here. The shot caller from the squad using the smokes as a barometer to lay that one down. And Godsent getting chunked, and Alpha 7 will finish it up. It all comes down to this. Who can rotate quicker? Dave, Alpha 7 seem to be in a prime spot.
They got the smokes. Marshall able to take this position a couple moments ago with this Scar, trying to get the exchanges going, and then the help from behind. Okay, we see the help. One down for Alpha.